Um, welcome, everybody, to the Demon Erasers podcast. I am here with the much anticipated conversation with my new friend Flat Earth Dave, and everybody's been wanting us to have this conversation in my chat. You guys are like telling me I gotta talk to this guy. They keep saying I gotta talk to you because I'm not just let's just be clear here. I'm not fully sold on the idea that we're flat, but I know NASA's lying to me. So whatever we talk about, I'm like, I know satellites are balloons. I'm not gonna be surprised. I've already looked into all these different things. I know that NASA is entirely manipulated and lies. The only thing I've gotten to the point of is, like, basically, there's no way we went to the moon. That's like a joke. That's a laughable joke to me. And so at this point, I've gotten to all of these things, and my buddy, JT is like, always subtly there's like this frustration because whenever he brings into the flat earth, I just don't I'm not sold enough yet quite. But they're telling me that if I talk to you, I can ask you my questions and you can give me some perspective answers.
Yeah, let
That's
me
where I'm at.
Brian, thanks for having me on. And I think I reached out to you a year or two ago. I heard you made some statement about the globe, and I was like, "Hey, let's talk." And I never heard back from you.
Oh, I'm
Um,
sorry.
no, it's okay. It's all right. I totally get it. Um, but
Mhm.
I'm happy we're having this conversation now, and I don't have all the answers. Right? Globers have all the answers. They know
Mhm.
everything, and it's all
Uh-huh.
based on pseudoscience and complete and total nonsense. And one thing you have to keep in mind is that all of the people that think the Earth is a globe, they all swear we went to the moon, and NASA's the balls. All right.
So
So you
I
have to
could
just remember. You have to remember. There's a correlation there.
I'm the in between though, because I don't
I
think that.
You think
So
no, but what I'm saying is all of the
yeah.
people that 100% fight for the ball, and I call
Mhm.
them demons, right? They're demon infested people. Um, they all, they're all, we
They
definitely
went
went
to
to
the
the
moon.
moon. They definitely went to the moon. So that kind of tells you something there. There's some correlation there that you got to keep in mind.
A lot of people are waking up to the moon thing, though, I will tell you, like, there's so many
Oh,
people that are waking up to the moon realization.
you know,
It's
I've been
very interesting.
I've been
Very
doing this for over a decade, and I've been waking up a lot of people. I
Mhm.
maybe you can say I woke up the most people. It's not a competition; it's merely an exhibition. Please, no wagering. But I was kind of jokingly upset when Artemis happened because in 10 days, NASA made more flat earthers than I have in 10 years, right? Because the Artemis mission was just such a joke. It was like, I cannot believe my tax dollars paid for this garbage. This is like the worst fakery ever.
Wasn't it called Artemis 2? Was there an
Artemis 2
Artemis
is the second
1?
one. Artemis 1 didn't have people on it. Artemis 2 had people on it. And
Which I
they
think is crazy because Artemis was also the name of the project in that movie where they put out
darn right it
where
was.
they faked the moon landing,
Right,
which
it
is
was the
just like,
Artemis.
what?
Right, revelation of the method. You're aware of all this, right?
Oh, very much so.
Yeah.
Mhm,
I mean, there's so many things we can
mhm.
spend we can spend hours just going over the Artemis stuff, but you already know NASA's fake.
Yeah, NASA's
And
bullcrap.
so what happened with NASA? You know, in
Mhm.
1958, 59, we started Admiral Byrd and his expeditions to Antarctica. A lot of weird stuff happened there. And then instead of saying, "Hey, what's going on in Antarctica?" They said, "We're going to the moon." And they sent some Freemasons to the moon. Just don't look
Yep.
over there, look over here. And before the word environmentalism was even a word, they said, "Oh, we have to protect the penguins. Nobody can go to
Mhm.
Antarctica." That's such a load of wash nonsense. Um, so once you go there, once you understand that NASA's fake, and you're already there, so you're
Oh,
halfway
yeah.
there. But the to understand, first, that the Earth is not a globe, and we don't have all the answers. We don't have a rock solid model, but falsification is independent of replacement. And once you like the our entire solar system, our Earth, the sun, the stars, the moon, space travel, everything is based off the radius of the Earth. The radius, a line
Okay.
from the middle to the
Mhm.
outside, right? Because the radius gives us the circumference, it gives us the distances and the sizes of all the other planets. If the radius is incorrect, then everything else falls apart. All of cosmology, all of space travel, it all
Why?
falls apart.
Why would it fall apart?
Because if the radius is wrong, then the
Mm,
distance to the
mm.
sun and the moon are wrong, and the sizes of the planets are wrong, and the equations for gravity are wrong, and the amount of gravity that the Earth has is wrong, and everything is wrong because everything is based off the radius, which is a basically just an assumed number based off of some really bad information.
I don't think that that could, I don't think that they can prove everything with that. Like, I don't even know, like, the radius of the Earth, the circumference, I'm like, "Eh,
Well,
whatever." Like,
you know,
that doesn't mean anything, no?
well, no, the radius is everything because if the radius is wrong, then the curvature rate is wrong, and then the the distance and the size of the sun are wrong, and the distance to the moon are wrong, and the equation for
Why would that
gravity.
be? Well, the distance of these things, I don't think necessarily even are indicative of the models that they put out there, right? So, like,
Actually,
my
it is. It
okay,
is like
let me give you
God.
a suggestion,
Yep.
because, like, I don't think there's a way to determine if we are the center of the Earth or if the sun
We're
is the center of the Earth or the center of
you
the universe, sorry.
right.
I don't think there's a way to determine that for even globe earther people. So, like, there is no way you can possibly say, and I don't know if you know about the, have you seen the model of the supposed photos that we've taken of cosmic radiation? Have you seen that?
Maybe.
Okay, so they took cosmic radiation photos of the galaxy, supposedly, where they photoed out, right, to the world with a
Mhm.
special lens that can measure radiation. And this is crazy. So, like, when they took these photos, you can see a band of intense radiation that goes across our entire galaxy,
Yeah.
which lines up with the Earth, okay?
Brian,
The Earth's
who gave us
supposed
that
equator.
photo? Who gave us that
Well,
photo?
I think there was some
NASA.
independent, yeah, probably
NASA.
NASA isn't
Okay.
connected, but I
So,
know NASA's lying,
yeah, so
but but wait, there's some component to it, and this is what I would say. So, like, the photo they took of it, where you see the radiation, now they tried to write it off and go, "Oh, well, we see the cosmic radiation just so happens to line up with the Earth. That's just crazy anomalous, event that we are just," or how about that means we're the center of the freaking universe? Because it would make perfect sense if the radiation matched the orientation of our planet, which people say our planet is like at a tilt, right? And that the sun is like rotating, but the cosmic radiation of the entire universe is at the same tilt that the Earth is at, supposedly, which is just insane to assume that we're not the center. And NASA puts that own data out, and you can look at that data yourself, and you can be like, bro, you guys are putting out data and saying it's just a really big coinky dink when the reality is what you're putting out suggests that we're the center of the entire freaking universe. Like, we're the center of everything. And so, like, I don't even think like the globe earthers can, you can't definitively say that we're rotating around the sun or the sun is rotating around us. You can't, it's too, like, you know what I mean? Like, when you're in outer space and two objects are moving supposedly, right? If they're moving, which one's moving around which one? Like, right now, which hand is rotating around which hand right now? You can't
yeah,
tell, right? So, like, how are we to say that the Earth is the sun's the center and the Earth is not? I don't think that they can determine that whatsoever. So, like, my thought is like that you can't these things are so, like, untangibly surmisable, but they kind of point to the fact that there is something significant about the Earth. So I'm of the belief that the Earth is the center of the world, like the center of the universe,
right,
and
right.
that the
So
sun's,
we're geocentric, you believe in,
yeah,
but you're thinking it's still a globe, right?
I
But
I think that it's possible it's a globe
okay,
because there's some questions that I've got that I can't answer otherwise, which is why they wanted me to ask you.
right,
But
I
yeah,
got you.
continue.
We'll go over those questions, but even
Mhm,
if it's
mhm,
geocentric and that's a step in the right direction, there would have to be
mhm.
curvature, and we're going to show you that the curvature doesn't exist. But just
Okay.
so you know, this is what I envision the world. Come on, load. Let's go. Where is it? This is essentially where I think we live. I think we live in this toroid. All the luminaries are going
Mhm.
around in these magnetic fields up here, and we live on this plane of inertia. This plane of inertia. That's where physical world lives.
Is it moving?
No, we're not moving at all. We're not
Okay.
moving. It is stationary. I mean, doesn't it say it in the Bible that God created the earth? It shall not be moved. I mean, you can interpret that all different ways. Well, you know, it shall not be moved off of its path. But there is no um, there's no parallax. Like the fact that the stars remain in the same position every year. Go out and take a picture of the stars at 10 o'clock tonight, right?
Mhm.
And then next year, same time, or in 10 years, same time, same night, take a picture, and every star will be in the exact same position,
What do you mean
right?
the same position?
They'll be in the exact same patterns, right? Think of the stars in the galaxy are supposedly just like a beehive with, just they're all over the place, 100 billion of them. They're all circling. The Earth is spiraling. The Earth is vortexing through the space, through the galaxy. Hold on a second. Let me just show you that. We're supposedly doing this, right? They're traveling 4.5 billion miles a year. All of the planets are just chasing
Hmm.
the sun, staying on the
Ugh.
same elliptical plane. And
See, that's silly to me. That's silly
well,
to me.
this is what you have to believe if you believe in heliocentrism. So if you don't believe this, then you don't believe in the heliocentric model. Now, that could
Sure.
bring you to a geocentric model where the Earth is stationary and all the stars in the galaxy are around us. The problem is there is still no curvature. There's no curvature whatsoever. This is what you have to believe if you believe in heliocentrism.
I don't
And
think you have to believe that the Earth I don't think you have to believe that it's shooting like a rocket all together in unison,
well,
even to
that's what
believe
they
that, though,
claim. That's what they claim. That's what all science claims.
maybe.
Where, well, no, that is what they claim, not maybe.
That the whole galaxy's moving like
No,
that?
our sun is traveling at a half a million miles per hour. All the planets are orbiting around the sun on the same ecliptical plane, and they're
Huh.
chasing the sun. And then we're orbiting the sun at 66,600 miles an hour. Funny number, right?
Yeah.
We're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour at the equator, less in Alaska, more at the equator. So we're spinning at all different speeds depending on your latitude. And we don't feel any of those motions. Right? We don't, they're all curved motions.
Mm,
People say, well, I'm on an
mm,
airplane. You don't feel it. You can drink a glass of water.
mhm.
I said, you want to compare an airplane to the slowest motion of the earth, which is the spin. First, you have to double the speed to 1,000 miles an hour. You have to take off the top of the airplane because there is no top on the earth. And you have to nosedive at a half a mile a minute.
Well, wouldn't
Don't tell me
that
you would do how's your glass of water doing then? What?
okay, well, what about okay, so this is what I think of. So, like, because there is supposedly a bubble around the Earth, which is what we would call, like, the atmosphere, which acts like a shield. So, imagine trying to push wind. When you push your hand, you can feel that resistance, right?
Hmm.
So if you push really fast, you feel more wind, right? So if you're pushing super fast, which is essentially what the movement of things are, right? It creates a bubble, which is what they claim when the solar winds come and they warp around the earth, you know what I'm talking about? Like the what we
Yeah.
call the what's
From the
that
stuff
thing? The
NASA tells us, right?
yeah,
I
the what
looked it up in the Narnia dictionary. It's
yeah,
all there.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. But what I'm saying is called the what the Van Allen belts, that thing.
Yeah.
The Van Allen belts, right?
Van Allen belts.
Okay, so
From
like
NASA again,
from
all
NASA again,
nonsense.
of
Yeah,
course.
all
But
nonsense.
they're saying there's like okay, so like we can still feel wind though, right? And so like if we know that something's moving and there's a wind bubble over us, and you can see this on a car when a car's driving really fast, they creates like a vortex wind bubble. That's
Yeah.
kind of that wind bubble is sort of I think what they're alluding to. So to me, it's like it's possible that I don't think we're moving, in my opinion, but it's possible that we could be moving. And the reason why I think that is simply because there is, like, if I was driving in a van and I threw an object up in the air like this while I'm driving, it's gonna go with me while I'm
What if you
driving in the van.
what
We
if
could be
the
going
van was turning at whatever speed it's going at? Steady speed, the van is turning. If you throw it up, it's going to go off to the side. Excuse me, right?
okay, so
Every motion of the earth is a
you're right.
curved motion. The spin is a curve, the orbit is a curve,
Hmm.
and the
Well,
sun is curving
actually
around the center of the great attractor.
let me think about that. Actually, no, okay, so
Every motion is a
it's
curved motion, right?
but it's okay, hold on. Let me think. So, like, if they're claiming that we're on on a ball, right, and it's spinning,
Hmm.
then it's technically not a curve because it's just moving in one direction,
No,
and then this
it's a
is moving
curve.
in another
If
direction.
you were on a moving sidewalk, let's say like the
Uh,
ones at the airport, but you're in an enclosed bubble and the thing's going 1,000 miles an hour, steady, no
yes.
problem. You could drink your tea, no problem, right? If that thing was turning,
That's different. See, that's not what the turn is. Now imagine that Imagine that same elevator, like you're saying,
Yeah.
but imagine it being on a big arc like this. And so you could drink your tea and it would be curving down, but it wouldn't have the same effect. Do you see what I'm
See,
saying? Like if you were turning?
that's also not true. So the Earth is spinning. Let's just say it's spinning like this, right?
Mhm.
So if you're on the equator, your argument is that you wouldn't feel it because you're just turning. But if you're standing here, you're going to be pushed over. The spin is going to make you want to lean towards the equator. Nobody leans towards the equator because
Hmm.
that spin, like if I had spaghetti noodles on here, I don't know. Whoops, I just lost my microphone. And I
No, you're
spun it,
good.
they're all going to go towards the plane
Outside.
of the spin.
Yeah, yeah.
So people here would be leaning over, people here would be leaning over, people here would be standing straight up, but you would also feel that, right?
I see what you're
Airplanes, when they
saying.
fly, would
I
have
see
to
what you're
nose
saying.
down, right? The XR, I heard you guys talking about on your podcast, by the way. I just listened to your podcast. Everybody,
Mm.
go listen to the podcast on JT follows JC.
Yeah.
That
JT's
was a really
mixtape.
good episode. Really good episode.
Thanks.
Um,
Mhm.
so an airplane fly that you guys were talking about the XRT-3B. You actually showed my video. That plane would have to nose down at ready 800 feet per second to
Hmm.
follow the curve of the Earth.
Hmm.
All right. So when you're on an airplane, you're sleeping, everything's good. The plane's flying straight and level, comfortable, no turbulence. And then about 125 miles from the airport, the pilot starts slowly descending, and then you wake up. You're like, whoa, whoa, we changed our trajectory. And even though it's a slight drop, right? That's because you changed your direction, and you'll notice it. Pilot says, all right, we're getting ready to come in for a landing. Um, you notice that. But since I mentioned that, we'll just talk about airplanes just for a second here.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
that's called the top of TOD, the top of descent, right? The top of descent. So
'Kay.
so here is an airplane. I was actually on a plane. The guy said we're 125 miles out, and they do a calculation. Okay, we're at 30,000 feet. We need to get down to the here. They figure out how many feet per mile to get to the runway.
Mhm.
At 125 miles, the calculation says, I don't know, 1,000 feet per, 10 per mile, whatever it is. Okay. So whatever they figured out, that's a flat Earth calculation. The problem is at 125 miles, there's 2 miles of curvature, and they never calculate for that. So geocentric ball or heliocentric
Mm.
ball, airplanes, when the pilot calculates, hey, I have to drop 1,000 feet per mile to, if I'm at 10,000 feet and I'm 10, whatever the math is, I'm all over the place.
Yeah.
It's got to calculate it, but that's a flat Earth calculation. They'd be 2 miles too high because the calculation is to the runway here, not here.
I see what you're saying.
All right.
Okay.
So
What
go ahead.
keep going. I got a question though, but keep going.
No,
Mhm.
and I
Mhm.
was talking about the
Mhm.
XRT-3B. That
Mhm.
that thing, it has to curve down to follow the Earth. And when it's going, this is the XRT, this is the SR-72, which goes 4,000 miles per hour. The amount of curve that it has to go off of its straight line trajectory is insane. I forget the number. It's a it's it's 1 mile per second drop. Yeah.
Mm.
1 mile
Mhm.
per second. Could you imagine if you're playing and it dropped
Mhm.
1 mile in 1 second? You'd be jello on the ceiling.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay,
But
so
none of that ever happens. Wait,
mhm.
and the last thing is those
Yeah,
planes
tell me.
can't turn left or right when they're going full
Mhm.
speed. The SR-71.
Oh,
It
really? I
has to
didn't know
go
that.
straight because it'll break apart.
Oh, that makes sense.
So,
Yeah, that's
well, up
interesting.
and down, that's not straight. You have to turn. So the forces of these things are insane.
Mm.
Insane. All right,
Mhm.
good. I want your
Okay.
questions.
So my question is this: you ever flown a drone before?
I have one. Yeah, sure.
Okay. So when I fly a drone right now, if I put my drone on, let's say, a platform. Let's say there's a platform that's lower than the other one, like this. Like one's higher and one's lower.
Hmm.
And I'm standing on the lower platform. And my drone flies this high, right? Here's the 2 platforms right here, like this, and my drone flies just above the lower platform, okay? So I'm flying a drone and I go bzzz, and I put a ball and the wind speed is here and it stays, right? And then I move it to this platform. What's gonna happen to the drone? Is it gonna stay or is it gonna go bzzz and go even higher? Do you see what I'm saying?
I think the drone uses radar to see what the floor is below it. So if you move the floor up, it'll go up. If you move it down, it'll go down.
No, I don't think it's not radar. You can just do this with a standard drone. You can do it with anyone that's blowing because it's based off of, like, wind speed that's pushing down resistance.
I think you're incorrect, but I'm going to go test that out tomorrow.
Okay.
Because I have a drone and it's
Mhm.
looking at the ground. Because if
You're
you're,
I'm
if
not talking about advanced drones. I'm talking about standard propeller drones. Like, right now, if
yeah,
you get, like, a toy one, for instance. There used to
okay,
be these little toy helicopters you could buy, and if
mhm.
you put your hand underneath it, it would be like this, and you put your hand, it would go, "Ooh," and it would start to raise as your hand went underneath it.
Yeah,
So
because that one is you. I'm with you. That one is just using the wind resistance. It's
yes,
not
that's what I'm
using
talking about,
radar.
the wind
Sure.
resistance.
What does
Yeah,
that have
okay.
to do with the shape of the Earth?
Okay, so this is what I'm describing to what your point is, okay?
Yeah.
So, when planes fly, I know this just because I've studied this and looked into it a little bit. When planes take off and when they're flying, they have to be at a nose up tilt just subtly. So they're never even when they're coming down, they don't nosedive. They actually lessen their flight and they actually come down with a nose up tilt, a subtle nose up tilt, even when they're descending. And
Yeah.
so that's because of the wind resistance. Because if they tilt their plane down,
Yeah.
it's gonna be like, "Bam!" So it ain't gonna be
So
good.
so let me correct you on that. If
Okay.
they tilt it down, it's going to come down too fast. If they go
Yeah.
straight, perfectly level, it's going to porpoise. So they always go nose up a little bit. But if
Yes.
they're flying over a ball, they would have to nose down or they're going to fly off into space. Inside of 1 hour, they'd be over 80,000 feet high if they didn't nose down. And that's at just 500 miles per hour.
I'm so what I'm getting at though is this is my point. So, like, what you were describing right now was that the plane was landing, right? And it was like it was gonna land here, but then you were saying it's round, so it's gonna land here, right? So, like, imagine this is here, right? So, my thought is this is what my question would be. So, the plane's flying like this, and when it's coming down, let's say it was here, it's coming down, it's really not gonna make much of a difference, but what I will tell you is that the difference is not in its straight trajectory because it's already at a pitched angle. So what I think the plane is doing is I think it's doing what the little toy helicopters do. It's actually based off of the resistance of wind where it's like pushing it up. So if the earth is dropping lower as it's curving, the plane would naturally be dropping lower. Does that make sense? So,
Well,
like, just like the platform,
right.
so,
But
like, if it's moving and the Earth is moving, the plane, as it's flying, would naturally be curving because it's the same way a platform would be dropped if the plane was here and the helicopter went here and then it went here, it would go "Brant," and it would drop this low, right? Am I right? Or what do you
well,
think?
listen, again, it's easy to make excuses for the globe, but first let's think about a plane flying over a flat Earth. If the Earth was flat and stationary, just assume it is, right? We're a make believe world, flat and stationary Earth, right?
Mhm.
Plane's flying, nose up a little bit just so it doesn't porpoise, and it's flying and it wants to land. What's it going to do? Vroom, it's going to just go flat and land on a stationary runway. Perfect. Doing exactly what we see, exactly what pilots say they
Mhm.
do. They say
Yeah.
it's flat. They treat it as flat. They treat it as stationary. When they're flying east or west, they don't adjust speeds. When they fly from the north to Ecuador and land on a runway that's north south facing, they don't have to chase the runway sideways at 1,034 miles per hour. They treat it as flat and stationary. And everything that the plane does is like flat and stationary. Now, for a globe, we can say, well, it's going up and it's using air pressure and it is going down, and the earth is spinning, but we don't have to worry about that because the atmosphere is velcroed to the earth and it's moving with it. I mean, you can make up excuses all day, but look at the flat earth explanation. Airplanes fly straight and level over the earth plane, no rotation, right? When you rotate the ball, it's 24,901 around, right? The equator.
I don't know.
Oh, it's just over 20. So,
Yeah.
so rounding off 24,000 miles. So it's spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. And then 24 hours later, you're back to where you started from, right? It's
Mhm.
just over 1,000 miles an hour. That
Okay.
Fact if you believe in a spinning ball. So if the
Mhm.
Earth is spinning once per day, it's just over 24,000 miles around. It's going, the equator is moving at 1,000 miles per hour, right?
But wait, what if we're geocentric? What if the sun's just the one moving around us
Oh,
then?
I agree. The sun is moving around. We're not spinning, but I'm talking about we're talking about the spinning globe here and how
Okay.
crazy it is,
Okay, well,
right?
I'm okay, okay, keep going.
Right. So
'Cause I
if
disagree.
someone,
I think the globe spinning thing, I don't know if that's even I think that's kinda silly.
so welcome to flat
Yeah,
Earth.
no,
Thanks,
well,
everybody. We'll catch you tomorrow.
no.
so,
Okay, go.
so at 1,000 miles an hour, somebody's sitting on the equator. They're in
Uh,
24 hours. They went over 24,000 miles, so they're moving at 1,000 miles an hour, but they don't notice it. They don't feel it. Right
yeah.
now, what about somebody up in
Who's
Alaska? Now, the point of rotation is right here. Alaska's right here,
uh-huh.
so they're only making a small circle. So
Yeah, I
they're
get that.
moving slower.
Yeah, of course they would be moving slower. That
Yeah,
would
they're
be
moving at
accurate.
like 200 miles an hour.
Sure, sure.
Okay, so we get an airplane. It takes off an Alaska runway, and it
Uh-huh.
flies to Ecuador. So
Okay.
the airplane goes 500 miles an hour. So sitting on the runway, we can say, okay, the airplane's already moving 200 miles an hour. That's moving from west to east, right? West to east
Mhm.
or east to west, whatever. Um,
I get what you mean.
so so it speeds up to 500 miles an hour. We'll even give the globe the benefit of the doubt. And we'll add that to it. So now it's got 700 miles an hour somehow magically. It flies to the equator. The runway's moving 1,000 miles an hour sideways. How does it catch up to that runway? How does it land on
Good
a moving
question.
runway?
So let me think. So I would presume that the atmosphere, if it's spinning, like they're saying it's spinning, that the particles in the atmosphere and the wind is also accumulating into that movement. And so I would imagine, is it really 200 that they're moving in Alaska? Is it they're only moving like 200 miles an hour versus
Yeah, well,
1,000?
think about it.
Is
If
that
you're even closer to the North Pole, you're moving a mile per hour. If you're right next to the North Pole,
sure?
right? If
Okay.
you're a mile from the North Pole, what's that? 6.28 miles around, right? You're moving less than a mile per hour, right?
Okay. So yeah, I
So
guess there's at one point there would be a 200 mile per hour.
so you'd
You're
have to
right.
speed up.
Okay.
But the thing is, winds blow left and right, up and down. Balloons go
But
up,
inertia is different though. Inertia is not the same
right?
necessarily as
But
wind.
there is no inertia. There is no inertia. Where is it getting that sideways spin? Versus the
Okay.
flat Earth explanation, Alaska's here, Ecuador's here. They're not moving. Airplane flies and lands straight.
Okay, so what if okay, now that I would say, okay, that's interesting. That's an interesting point you bring up. Now, if we were geocentric though, but we were still a globe, then both arguments would be mute because that's kind of where I'm at.
So we have the okay. So
So I would say
geocentric,
we're
a
geocentric.
non-spinning ball.
Yeah, that's
That's
what
what
I
you're
would
saying.
say,
Okay,
potentially, yeah.
all right. So there's a
Mhm,
lot of problems with that. So let's just take care of the ball
mhm.
problem first, right? Do you know how the curvature of the ball was theorized?
Yeah, I believe it was, a famous dude that was
Eratosthenes.
meshing yeah, and he was measuring the 2 shadows of
Y- Yeah, yeah.
the obelisks.
So back 2,000 years ago, Eratosthenes um, theorized that he looked down a well and he saw, this is the story. He saw the sun at the bottom of a well. So he said, oh, the sun is directly above me on this day. All right. Hey, that's
Mhm,
good. That's testable, repeatable. And, that's something you can definitely
mhm.
figure out. Right. And then for some reason, Eratosthenes thought that the sun was infinitely far away because the sun rays would come in straight. So he said, hey, if I send my buddy 500 miles away, he could hold a stick up and we can measure the shadow. I'll hold a stick and he'll hold the stick. My stick won't
Yeah.
have any shadow. His stick will have a shadow and they could do some math, right? That's the story,
Okay.
right? So the first thing
Mhm.
is nobody has ever seen um, sun rays coming in straight, right?
Yeah, that's interesting.
They come in crepuscular, right? Eratosthenes would have to think that the world
Mhm.
looks like this. This is CGI. It's not real, right? So
Yeah. Mhm,
Eratosthenes would have to think that that the rays look like this, but in reality, whenever we look,
mhm.
we see them like this. They're spreading out in both directions. See how they come towards us? They spread out. Now you could say, "Oh, that's just perspective." I'll give you that. But the ones going in the other direction, they're also spreading out, but perspective's trying to bring them together. So they must really be spreading out in the other direction. Crepuscular ways are
Yeah,
the
so that's
reality. It's a
those are called
local,
God rays
yeah, it's a
in the
local,
film industry.
yeah, it's a local light. So the problem is whether crepuscular or not, whether they're far or not, his experiment is nonsense,
Hmm,
right? Let me just bring this up. So here we have two. These I think these are beer bottles, um, and we have a light directly over this one, so there's no shadow,
mhm,
and there's a shadow over this one. You can do it yourself, right?
yeah,
Get two posts, put a light over this one, no shadow. Get a light
yep,
bulb, not a flashlight, a light bulb, like the sun,
mhm.
right? And then this one over here would have a shadow, just like this has a shadow. You can do the same math Eratosthenes used to figure out the sphericity. I can't say the word. The the s- the sphericity. Wow, how come I can't say that word tonight? Um,
Mm.
the sphericity.
Circumference? What are you
No,
trying to say?
sphericity. The ballness of it. How's that?
Oh,
Right?
sphericity?
Sphericity. Sphericity.
Sphericity.
Right? Here's
Okay.
Eratosthenes. He's here. His buddy's here. By the way, his buddy walked 500 miles, counted his steps. That's how he knew he was 500 miles away. Okay.
That's silly, that's
Yeah,
silly.
yeah. And so here he is, and he got the shadow, and they can measure the length of the shadow. Here it is on a flat Earth with a local sun. Get the same thing. You could do the same math and figure out the sphericity of this flat surface, right? So the experiment did nothing. It proved nothing because it works on both models. If both models exist, if the
Got
ball
it.
model existed, Neil deGrasse Tyson comes out and says, "Well, if you,"
Ugh.
he admits that it works on one. He goes, "But if there's a
Mhm.
third well, because they were using wells, now it's wells or sticks. They can't get it. It wouldn't work out." But that's not true. Not true at all. You put another stick over here, and that one's going to have a shadow going in the other direction. It works on both, right? If I had a stick over here, it would have a shadow. If I had a stick over here, over there, whatever, right there for the straight one, it would have a shadow. So it works. It doesn't prove either model.
So it's interesting that you bring this up because I think that the story you're telling me of, Aristophanes is potentially silly and ridiculous also,
It,
but
it's
I don't think that's indicative of the shape of it because I think that the fallen angels probably told us this information and they gave this information regardless, and they gave us a phony fake story as to, like, who and why and how. So, like,
uh,
my belief is that technology has been given to us, a lot of it. So,
oh,
but
we can go there. That's fine. But I'm just saying, first, the way that they figured out the sphericity of the Earth is a made up story.
yeah.
And he would be the most famous mathematician back then, but nobody ever wrote a book about him until the 1900s,
Yeah,
right?
of
When the
course, that's silly.
Rockefellers took over the education
Yeah,
system,
yeah, even more
right?
yeah, exactly.
So
I'm right
again,
there
just
with you.
another
Mhm.
nonsensical thing. So let's
Yep.
talk about the radius of the Earth for a
Mm.
moment. All right.
Wait, you do mention the God rays, the angular,
Yeah.
the angular pull, which is also fascinating to me because the idea that the Earth is exactly the same distance away from the sun as it is to the moon in relation to the size is so anomalous that it would
Right.
be uncanny, ridiculous to say that the Earth is 100,000 miles wide, and it just so happens to be the exact size that they
Well,
can potentially eclipse one another.
so the official
That
story
is
is the sun is 400 times bigger
yeah,
and 400 times farther than the moon. So they
that
look
is
like they're the same
so
size.
yeah, exactly.
Right.
That is insane. That is insane. And
W-
I think it's more like I do believe that the sun seems to be behind the moon in some capacity, but to what extent and to how much further behind, I think is undeterminable.
Right.
And I think because we do see the eclipses happening, right?
Brian,
So,
I'm
yeah,
gonna freak you out on this one. We'll go to eclipses in a minute. I think that the moon is in front of the sun.
the moon is in I
No, no, no,
agree.
no, no.
Yeah.
My bad. No, I'm dyslexic.
You think the
Behind the
sun's
sun. The moon
Oh,
is
okay.
behind the sun. But
Ooh,
there's a
that's
difference between
possible.
the actual moon and the actual sun and the moon and the sun that we see. right?
That's interesting, and that's possible because you
Let
do
me
see the
show
moon
you. We'll go
disappear.
to eclipses in a second because eclipses is a big one that people say, "Oh, how does eclipse work on a flat Earth?" Eclipses don't work
Mhm,
on a globe Earth; they only work on a flat Earth, and we've been
mhm.
brainwashed to think the opposite. So, microwaves actually need line of sight to communicate.
Yes,
It's
I'm aware of this.
and there's no bouncing off of
Yep.
anything, right? So this is called the LoRa transmission. It went from a
Mhm,
ship to a buoy, right?
mhm.
Now, 800 miles. Now, at 10 miles, do you know how much curvature, geocentric or heliocentric Earth of the radius that they give us? At 10
No
miles,
idea.
how much curvature there is? 66.6 feet. Funny number. Okay. But 66 feet, that's a
Mhm.
six-story building. This is not taller than a six-story building. So there'd be a six-story building in the middle here, right? Blocking that at 10 miles of work. At 800 miles, that's 85 miles of curvature, 426,000 foot drop. That's 85 miles, right?
Mm,
But it was able to transmit. So
mm.
it doesn't go through the earth, it doesn't curve over, and it doesn't bounce off of anything. And it was able to go
And
800
what is this
miles.
transmission? What is
This
this?
is called the LoRa transmission,
And
long.
what is it
It's
about?
a
What's
microwave
significant about it?
transmission. It's a microwave. The military uses it.
Is
Um,
it the most significant
no,
transmission or
no,
what was the
there's been many. Like Marconi, uh, he did a radio transmission. I think it was 10,000 miles, and they said it wasn't going to work because of the curvature of the Earth, and it worked. And then they said, "Oh, it must be bouncing off of something," and they made up the ionosphere. The ionosphere did not exist until after Marconi's radio transmission because they had to make it up to make a reason why it worked. But let's talk about things that we can see
Hmm,
because I'm not a big fan of microwaves and
mhm.
radio transmissions um, because it's hard to it's not something that we can see and do ourselves. I don't have a microwave transmitter, right? I don't I there's certain things we can't prove. So let's prove what our eyes see.
Well, you do have one, it's just in your pocket, you
I
just
do.
don't
I do. I keep it
you c
next to
yeah.
my junk, so I radiate myself constantly. All right. So this one we call the black swan. I don't know. They got the name because when we saw these observations, we said, "Oh, that's one of a kind," right? But it's not one of a kind. There's now too many of them. So this is all documented. And again, don't believe anything I tell you. You have to go and see the documentation to make sure what I'm telling you is true. But just for now, assume it's true. This camera was 8 feet off the ground. At 8 feet, according to the Globe Earth Curve calculator, the horizon should be 3.5 miles. So here's the first oil rig that's at 6 miles, and the second oil rig is at 10 miles, right? So the horizon should be here. Now, what do I mean about the horizon? The horizon would be where you can't see the surface of the water anymore. So you can't see the surface right here, right? My
Got it.
fingernail is a boat, it's going behind the curve,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Right? So where the horizon starts, it's not that it would hide a boat, but the surface of the water, which is the lowest part,
Yeah.
would be hidden. So the horizon should be here, but not only can we see the water from here to here, we can see it in between, right? The horizon should be 3.5 miles. This is 6 miles. So somewhere in here, it would be the horizon. And we can see the water from miles beyond the second one.
Okay, I got a
N-
question then.
Go ahead.
What if there is a component to our understanding? Because 'cause I've looked at camera I've zoomed into things like this. In fact, I've been looking to buy a
You-
P1000, Nikon
Yep.
P1000,
Yep.
so I can zoom in on the ocean, and I've watched a person zoom in on the ocean at a rig from a distance that was not visible, but when they zoomed in, it became visible, okay? So, my curious perspective is what if there is a, type of hallucinogen response that we have not figured out, like a what do you call a mirage response? Because they called it the mirage line, I think, in one of the videos I was watching,
Mhm.
and it was like, at a certain point, everything looked at this right at the horizon, everything became really fuzzy and it melted into this mirage line as it got really small. But when he zoomed in, it became visible again. And
Yeah,
so
just like
like
this.
that, yes,
You
like that.
can't see it. So that's
That's
called the
fascinating.
angular resolution limits of our eyes,
Okay, but
right?
what if there's an illusion to where if even if it's curvature, somehow light is bending in an arc that we just don't have a scientific understanding for. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
So I hear what you're saying. And again,
what if that's a
as I
possible.
said, the globe takes fantastical assumptions. So, so on a globe, the farther out, everything goes down and away. Everything should go down. The farther out you go, the farther down and away it should be, correct? Right?
Sure, yeah, 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 I
Right?
would imagine,
So
yeah.
so when I look, 10 miles out, things should be 66 feet down, right? 100
I
miles out, it
suppose,
should be
yeah.
6,000 feet down,
I
right
I
over a
I
mile.
gotta I gotta do the math and figure out if
Oh,
that's
sure, but
exactly the right
I did the math for you,
assumption.
but you
Okay,
can go double check me, right?
okay.
So 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 every foot farther away, there would be more curvature. So the surface of the water at, X distance would have to pop up a little bit, and a little bit farther would have to pop up more, and farther would have to
Yep,
pop
yep,
up more,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
So I have these tacks on this ball here, right?
Okay.
So we're gonna go
Mhm.
here so you can see
See
the
one right
the you
now.
can see the white one, right?
Let
Now
me
for
make you
you,
full screen. Okay,
yeah.
go.
So you can see the white one, right? The white one
Uh-huh.
right here,
Mhm.
right? The other ones are behind the curve, correct?
Yep.
All right. So the orange one has to refract up a little bit more, and then the yellow one and the purple one and the pink one and the green one, they all
Yep.
have to refract up different amounts. See, they're all refracting up different amounts for
Mhm.
you to see them in
Mhm.
a straight line. So what is the more likely thing? The globe makes things refract up the perfect amount of the earth, or you're just looking across a flat plane. Let me show you another one
Yeah.
before you answer that. Let me show you another one before you answer that. So large bodies of water at rest lie flat, right? You would agree with that. Can you bring
Mhm.
me 10 gallons of water without a container?
No.
Okay. You need a container. And in water at rest, anything over 4 millimeters deep of water lies flat. There's surface tension, yes,
Yeah.
raindrops, right? We get that, but we don't live on a raindrop. Right. So here is a lake or a canal, whatever you want to call it, still. And when it's cold, it freezes and it freezes flat. Go ice skating on a lake, it's flat, right?
Mhm.
So we got a camera 6 inches off the ice. We proved that it was 6 inches off the ice. And then we put that this guy put these four lights out there. They're a foot off the ground, right? 8 miles, 7 miles, 6 miles, and 5 miles. Now, Bill Nye has trained everybody. The earth is so big that you can't see the curvature, and 8 miles doesn't sound like very much for this gigantic earth, right? But using their math, globe earth math, right? And now they love saying refraction. So if you go to the anti-flat earthers sites, and they'll be all over your comments, by the way. So you go to their site, they've got an earth curve calculator that does the correct calculation, but then they have a slider that says refraction, right? So let's
Hmm.
say we're looking at something that's 10 feet tall
Mhm.
and it's 10 miles away. Well, it would be behind 50 some odd feet of curve. The top of the building would be 50 plus feet below the curve, right? So you take the refraction slider, and on their calculator, you refract and refract and refract, which basically makes the earth bigger and bigger and bigger. And you refract it so you can see the whole building. Then you go, that's how much refraction there is, right? And
Huh.
they say flat earth debunked, because they have a magical slider that they can slide it. You can actually, somebody did it at 10,000 feet. They said, I'm looking at something
Mhm.
24,901 miles away. That would be the back of your own head, right? And they said, they slid the refraction bar until it said you could be able to see it. So they said, oh, look, I can see around the ball because I slid the magic refraction slider. So this is refraction also has to do with humidity, temperature. Well, this is cold, no humidity, middle of the winter at nighttime. And that would be the minimal amount of refraction. But we added, I think, 50% refraction. And with 50% refraction, it's 30 feet below the curve, 22 feet, 15 feet, and 9 feet. That's how much
Huh.
they should be, but it should be more. I think this is like 45 feet, but we're giving the
That's
globe the benefit of the doubt. So we have two explanations. One, the camera is 6 inches off the ice, and it can see these four lights all lined up across the ice. Boom, there they are. Um, Globe calculation, the horizon is 0.88 miles away, less than a mile away, because at 6 inches, it's less than a mile away to your tangent of your view. And then this one popped up just that amount. This one popped up just that amount. This one popped up more to get to that same level, and this one popped up more. Now, none of them popped up higher. None of them went lower because they'd be missing. They all popped up to the tangent of the camera's view. Which one is the R word, and which one makes sense?
That is a really good question, and I don't know the answer to that. That's very and I wonder about this, and
Right.
actually I want to buy a camera for this particular purpose actually.
But let me tell you something about the camera. You go out. When I first got my camera, I was anti flat Earth. Like, I was doing Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole podcast, and then we were looking into all the big ones: New York, Connecticut, the Beachy School, the Boston bombing, everything, right? And people started suggesting flat Earth. I refused to look. I'm like, this is the dumbest crap ever. But then Sophia Smallstorm, another researcher, she convinced me that I
Mhm,
had to look. And I didn't look like you're looking. You're looking with an open
mhm,
mind. You're thinking. I said, I'm just going to
mhm,
debunk this nonsense. And I tried for 2 weeks. And at that time in 2014, 2015, YouTube was feeding you like, oh, you like that video? Here's another video someone else put up. And they were giving you the good stuff before they broke the algorithm in 2017. And and I said, you know what? I'm going to buy this new camera that came out. It was the P900 at the time. Spent
mhm.
$1,000, tripod, everything. I went down to the beach. God gave me a cool, crisp, super calm day, and I zoomed in on a buoy that was over 10 miles away. Right, and not only
Mm,
could I see the buoy, I can see the water and the beach beyond that buoy. Right, 10 miles away.
interesting.
That's a six-story building in between me and that buoy, and I could see it, and I could see beyond it. Right? And
Hmm.
so I just said, Earth curve cuck. I'm still in denial. I'm
Were you
like, the Earth,
standing at the were you standing at
I was
the
sitting at the edge of the water.
edge of the water?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Sitting at the edge of the water. Even if I was standing,
Mhm,
it doesn't matter, right? Because there would be 60 feet of curvature instead of 66 feet or whatever.
mhm,
And but the thing is, if it was slightly windy that day and there was small waves out there, I wouldn't have seen any of that, right? Because can my finger hide my face?
no,
What if it was
unless it's
closer to you?
unless it's in front, yeah.
What if it was closer to you?
Yeah, of
Right.
course.
And so if you're sitting next to a 5 foot high in your yard next to a fence, the fence is over your head. You're sitting on the grass, the fence is higher than your head. Move that fence a mile away. The top of that fence to you looks like it's at your eye level.
Yeah.
That's how everything works. So even though you're looking up a ramp, it looks level to you. Again, I can get into that in my app. I have where does the sun go? How does the sun set over the ocean? All of that stuff is answered. Here's the thing. Believing, believing, not even lies, just believing is easy. Takes no effort, no brain power, and no time. But knowing takes time and effort. And it's only when you take the time and effort to look into this. Here's the thing. You're a man of God, right? You're you're
Mhm.
you're like super God driven, right?
Yeah.
Right? It's people like you and JT that helped me learn about God, right?
Mhm.
I didn't believe in God before I found out about the flat earth. Now, I didn't got the Bible didn't bring me to flat earth, right? If someone said, "Hey, the earth is flat, look, it says it here in the Bible," I would have never looked. I would have been like, "You are a crazy religious nut job. Get away
Mhm.
from me," right? But once I understood that this place is um divinely created, that we're at the center of creation, then I
Mhm.
realized, wow, the Bible has a lot of truth in it. I mean, I have a whole biblical section on my app, which is mind blowing stuff. And I tell people, if you believe in the Bible or you don't believe in the Bible, you need to watch these videos, right? In the biblical section right here. Absolutely amazing stuff. So there is a passage in the Bible that says basically, what is that? I think I actually have it because I know I always forget the actual passage. Romans 1. And it said,
Mhm.
basically, it says, by the things that are made, even in his eternal power and godness, so that they are without
Without
excuse.
excuse.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So do you think if God created this world for us, denying his creation would
Mhm.
kind of be anti God, would not be a good thing? It's not a great thing, right?
Oh, sure. I mean, like, I think that the earth points I think everything about the earth is, divinely created,
Right.
and it's very
And
obvious to me.
here's why the elite hide it. The elite, which are
Mhm.
they're
Well,
demons in
th
my
well
mind.
well,
They're,
they
they're,
call it the soul lure system. It's designed to
there's
lure your soul away
right.
from the truth, and
But
I'm totally aware of that.
here's the thing. If somebody do you believe in God or you know that there's a God?
I mean, I suppose it's a little of both.
I know
It just
there's a
kind of
God.
depends.
So
Yeah.
here's the thing. And you were very honest with your answer because you there's so much evidence for God from your point of view, but what's the
Mhm.
one thing that can take out any doubt that there's a God? And that's the creation that we're in. That this could not have come from a random big bang. This had
Of
to be
course.
divinely created. There is no doubt in my mind whatsoever that there's a God. Now, we can argue all day. Who's that God? What was he here? Is he good? Is he bad? Whatever. That's fine. Right? We can argue that. But I know that this place was created for us and that we're at the center of creation, that we are powerful creators. I know that there's demons and angels and all sorts of stuff. I know that we are part of this whole system, that we're not just worm food. But and when you have a public, when you have um a group of people that has that understanding, that knowing, you can't control them. You can
Sure.
only control people that live in fear. And I think that all these organized
I
religions
I
are to keep you in fear.
dude, I'm right there. I completely agree. That's so like my perspective is that like it's very I'm right there with you. I think there's a lot of distortion. I think NASA was created to lure your soul away from the truth. I'm just of I'm of the perspective that I think we might be still a geocentric globe ball that's non-moving, that's the center of this galaxy that God created.
Right.
That's just my perspective at this point because I can't wrap my head around the way the stars move. And I can
Well,
ask you that question.
let's talk about that. I and so
I can
so again, I'm a flat earther. I'm not a
yeah,
sky earther.
sure.
All right.
Well, I'm just saying that like when you look up right now at the skies,
Yeah.
when you look up at the stars at night, we can all do this experiment. Everyone right
Yeah.
now can do this. You can go and I've done it. I took a photo and I took a camera and I went and did star trail
Yeah.
photography. And so I can take photos of the stars and anywhere in the northern hemisphere, you will find that the stars are all rotating around
Counterclockwise.
the North Pole.
Polaris. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, the Polaris, sorry.
Mhm.
And you're like, "That's weird. That's interesting." And if you go into the south, it all rotates around what's called the Southern Cross, and all the stars rotate the opposite direction around a different constellation, around what's called the Southern Cross. And if you go in Ecuador and anywhere on the equator, you can subtly see both arc rotations of the stars at both just subtly, you see them arcing, and most of the lines are straight, but you can see them off to the north and to the south, there's a subtle arc if you're
Yeah.
in Ecuador or anywhere in the equator. So, to me, how that is even possible without a globe perspective is something that, my mind just can't wrap my mind I just can't wrap my mind around that. Like, that has to
Well,
be
again, the heavens above are not our domain. They're not a physical place. And the optics of the dome, I'm showing you right here that this would be the equator here, right?
okay,
You see different rotations. Now, personally, I think that the southern stars are literally just a reflection of the northern stars. We've actually modeled it out. This is a guy named Joe Hanvey, and he took these domes. So we're looking underneath the dome here. These are the northern stars spinning, and this is a reflection in the south of the southern stars going in the opposite direction, right? So so we can model it out,
what do you mean a
but
reflection? Because they have totally different constellations there.
well, you got to think about it. You got a curved dome. You got stars that we see from one orientation, but they're reflecting in another. Somebody did a video a while ago, and it got removed during the 2017 YouTube apocalypse, that showed clusters of stars in the north, and they did them by the number and the brightness, and then we could find the same cluster in a different orientation of three bright and two, and two not bright or whatever, and there was so many correlations that there's something up to what I'm saying.
With
But
the
again,
southern and the northern
there's
at
no, yeah,
hemisphere.
yeah. There,
Have
that there,
you know that there's an app you can download where you wherever you point your camera, even down here, you can look
yeah.
at the stars that are on the southern
Well,
hemisphere and you can look up, right?
that's assuming that they're. Yeah, I mean, that's just you can do that with a flat plane and then wrap it around a ball and make you think that you're looking down at. Nothing
Well, I'm
goes
saying
below
like
the
that
plane.
you can just look at each constellation like this as you tilt your phone and
Yeah,
see
but it's
all of the
just
constellations that are in South America, that are everywhere, and you just move your phone around,
right.
and it
I
shows you them all.
understand what it's showing you, but like, let me show you.
Right.
I got to go to good perspective here. So
'Cause the star trails are moving straight when you're in Ecuador. Like, you can look this up, you can do it yourself.
I
So, like,
understand they do. They go.
they're
They
moving
look
straight,
like
and
the
you can see the 2 arcs because you can see them off in
right.
the distance. The arcs, they're
But
subtly arcing.
again, looking up in the sky, we see what's called our personal atmospheric dome of vision. We don't see that far. We're not
Uh-huh.
seeing half of the world, right?
Yeah, yeah, of
We're
course.
seeing in our personal atmospheric dome. You know, we sent a balloon up. No, I say we, flat earthers, um, in
Mhm.
Arizona or somewhere out west there. And they did it at night with 4K cameras looking up. And before it took off, clear night, you can see all the stars. So as it goes up higher and higher, the stars should just get even more clear and more clear, right? It went up. By the time it hit 70, 80,000 feet, all the stars were gone.
Hmm.
Weird.
Yeah, it's I
Weird.
don't know what that is.
Yeah. Thank you. Neither do I, but it's not a
But no,
heliocentric
that
model. But it's
yeah, I
not
don't
a
know.
heliocentric model because the heliocentric model says they'd get clearer and brighter. They get clearer and brighter as we got through all the thickness of the atmosphere. They all went away. I think stars are angels, if you ask me. They're all fluctuating. I mean,
Oh,
if you
yeah.
you've
Mhm.
seen the stars when they all,
When you zoom in, they look like little donuts with water, and they're amazing looking, actually. When you
exactly,
zoom in,
exactly.
like, do you have the P1000,
I
camera?
do. I
Do you have
do.
use Can you zoom in well enough to see them?
Yeah. So here's one.
Yeah,
This is
that.
yeah,
They look like donuts underwater. You're like, "What is that?"
incredible.
They're very
R
fascinating.
right. So again,
I don't
you know,
know what that is.
in the
That's definitely
heliocentric model in the
fascinating.
universe, right? This is a ball of gas like a
Yeah,
thousand
that's
times
silly to me.
bigger than our sun.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Get
That's
out of
no
here,
yeah.
right? And again, our sun is made of helium and hydrogen in a vacuum. You can't
Mhm.
have gas uncontained, right?
Sure.
Nature abhors a vacuum. But our whole world, like people say, well, the circling sun in Antarctica proves the shape of the earth. Well, first you have to prove that there's curvature. Then you have to prove that helium and hydrogen can exist in a vacuum and have gravity that holds on to Pluto but ignores our moon. Like our moon comes around the earth towards the sun, it doesn't speed up and get yanked away. When it goes away, it doesn't slow down. It's all nonsensical BS because we've been brainwashed before we could even talk that the earth is a globe. First thing they teach kids in school, sun, the moon, the rotation, the planets.
Mhm.
Every kid wants to be an astronaut. It's literally stealing their mind, breaking their mind from their common sense reality. A kid goes to the beach all day, a little kid playing on the beach with his shovel and his truck and whatever, and the sun moves across the sky. Then he goes to school after witnessing this 100 times. The school teacher goes, "Oh, no, the sun's not moving across the sky. You're on a ball spinning, falling over backwards faster than the speed of sound. And it just looks like
Mm.
the sun is moving." So you break the kid's mind that way, right? All of their God given common sense is beaten out of them by the time they're 5 years old. And then they go to school and their teachers are gods, teachers are truth tellers, and the teachers are teaching them bullshit that they were taught. They're not lying, they're just teaching them what they were taught. If you want to be
Yeah.
a teacher, what do you do? Do you come up with new ideas or you just memorize and write that, regurgitate the nonsense in the Rockefeller funded textbooks?
Yeah, of course. Well, they were
All of,
written by
yeah,
Jeffrey Epstein's,
yeah.
Ghislaine Maxwell's father. More specific, if you wanna get real
Brian, this is the heliocentrism is the main reason is hiding God. It's
I
just,
agree. I agree that that's true. Like, I agree that
yeah.
there's a lot to that. That's why
And
I'm not fully
yeah.
even
And what does it
heliocentric.
say?
Well,
Angels,
bro,
angels are a
heliocentric,
wheel inside a wheel. Was
yeah,
that
yeah, it's
Ezekiel?
fascinating.
What
Yeah,
is
in
look at that?
Ezekiel. Yeah, that looks definitely like
What
a
the heck
wheel.
is that,
Yeah,
man?
it's crazy. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, heliocentric though, Helios is the name for Satan, by the way. It's heliocentric means Satan-centered. So, like, I don't think that heliocentric is accurate at all. I think that's very I mean, like, the stars alone is super fascinating, and I think there's
Yeah.
something to those stars that look like that. There is no way they look like that, and that's not something that we don't know. So, my belief is that they are angels that
I
hold their place permanently
I agree.
as they rotate around the earth. Again, this is my perspective,
Uh,
as they rotate around us and observe. And then I think that the fallen angels are the falling stars, are the ones that have left their place and drop out of the heavens, and you see them coming down to the earth in little green lights or whatever. That's just
Maybe
my perspective.
like that you showed that video of the volcano with that green thing coming down. Who knows
Yeah.
what that was, right? Who
Yeah,
knows
I
if
don't
that's
know.
even real? If that's a real volcano?
Yeah.
Who knows any of that? But
Yeah.
let's talk about eclipses for a moment. And because people's like, oh, how does
Mhm.
the eclipse work? First, the lunar eclipse. I'm talking about a solar eclipse, but the lunar eclipse is geometrically impossible on a globe. It works on a flat Earth. It's
What do you
impossible.
mean?
I'll get to it in a moment, but I want to go over the solar eclipse first. So, do you see the moon?
I mean,
Honestly.
I don't know.
Well,
Yeah, I don't know
here's
what
the
that is.
sun.
I don't know what that is we're
I
looking
don't
at.
know what it is, but you don't see it. You
Yeah,
see
no.
missing sun.
Sure, yeah.
Look, there's a piece of the
You
sun
can
is
see the
missing.
clouds
Now
straight through it.
well, the clouds are in front of it. I mean, I'll argue that. But you don't see the moon. You think you see the moon because you're
Yeah.
told it's the moon. Personally, I do think it's the moon that's eclipsing the sun, but it's not in front of the sun, it's behind it. What do I mean by that? Right? Let me show you this. Right? Again, missing sun, missing sun, missing sun. You don't see the moon, you see missing sun. Why is that? All right.
Mhm.
So this is worth the time. All right. So here we have this is an eclipse we had now. The skies happen to be very hazy because they were trying to hide them. A lot of air traffic letting out a lot of contrails, right? If you know what I
Yeah,
mean.
right, right.
Okay. And so it actually made it really easy for me to film because I didn't have much glare because it was so hazy up there. So this is actually an eclipse that I filmed.
Oh,
Right.
cool. It's a good
Yeah.
good shot.
Yeah, it's perfect.
What camera
Perfect.
did you use?
This was my P900 at the time.
Nice.
I wasn't even zoomed in that much, right? I mean, I could have done it with my iPhone. So
Cool.
this is my
Mhm.
so I believe that we see in a personal atmospheric dome. It's because where the atmosphere becomes opaque, and that's where we see all the luminaries. That's where we perceive them, right? Like you ever watch a movie in the park where they projected it onto a sheet from behind the sheet, and you guys all watch? You can hang a sheet up and get a movie projector and project it on the back of the
Yeah,
sheet, and
yeah.
everyone on the front sees it, right?
Uh-huh.
That's the apparent position of the movie, but the projector is behind the sheet. So
Uh-huh.
here's my paper towel sky, and I'm projecting from the backside an eclipse. This is a light that I'm
Mm.
beaming at it, and I'm
Mm.
eclipsing it. This is a Snapple bottle cap. Can you see the Snapple bottle
Yeah,
cap?
yeah.
You can't, right?
I see what you're saying.
So let me jump forward here. This is an actual eclipse. Now, the eclipse is probably 80-90% eclipsed. It's this much eclipse. If this is the sun, it's so bright, it's still bright and it's blowing out the camera a little bit. But because 80-90% of the light is gone, I'm able to see through the sky, right? The reason you can't see stars during the day is because the atmosphere is electrified by the sun. The sun is fluorescing the nitrogen, which makes it is a blue color when it fluoresces, and the sky becomes opaque. And when the sun leaves, the sky becomes more transparent and you can see the stars. You with me?
Huh. Okay.
So, because the sky is less opaque right now, I can see this. Now, this is a lens flare. Watch, as soon as I unfreeze this, as the camera moves, this is moving, but this one's locked to the sun. So it's not a lens flare. The lens flare would move around like these two are moving. So what is this? What is this? Right? So
Well
I'm
well,
I'm
you could
gonna
say that it's a light refraction and
well
that it's picking up on.
I'm gonna give you my theory and then I'm gonna show
Okay,
you an example and I'm gonna model it and
sure.
we're gonna see if it looks the same. So let me just jump forward here. So here's my eclipse. I'm gonna show you how I'm doing this, right? This is my Snapple bottle cap, which is the moon. And it's eclipsing. Now I'm showing you a side view, right? Here's my light being beamed onto my paper towel sky. And here comes the bottle cap, as you can see right here. And
Yeah.
that's creating my eclipse. Now you can't see the bottle cap at all, just like you can't see the moon.
Yeah.
Here's the sun, and here's the moon or the eclipsing body,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
So then I said,
Interesting.
you know what? What if the sky is a little more transparent than so here it is. Nobody, by the way, has ever seen the moon approach, eclipse, or exit the face of the sun during an eclipse. No one's ever seen it,
That's
right? So
fascinating to
so then I made a
record something like that.
thinner sky, a thinner sky. I used tissue paper, right? Here's the light behind it. beaming on, right? This I'm looking through the paper and I'm seeing the projector. This is the projector
Ah,
that's
I see what you're saying.
behind and it's hitting there. And when I
Oh,
compare it,
interesting.
so that's the projector. I can see through the sky. And if I compare it to the actual eclipse, it's the same exact thing.
That's interesting. That's an interesting theory for
I'll
sure.
take it. It's an
Is
interesting
that is that
theory.
is that something that you've tried to come up with, or is that like
I
a
came up with
known
this on
thing?
my own, and I can't find a better explanation. I'm not claiming this is absolutely a fact. I just did an experiment where I showed you that's how we could be seeing what we're seeing, and nobody's come up with a better explanation.
Yeah, so that is pretty interesting. I mean, like, I would say that, it's I'm trying to imagine what that would be if it wasn't a lens flare, how it's like a road like it's a positioned thing.
It's the projector of the sun that we see. So the moon is in front of the real sun, but it's behind the sun that we see.
Well, it could be a secondary lens flare, and so there's a secondary lens inside the whatever camera, and so the back lens is closer, thus it's not moving and it's
Why would it
refracting from that.
that's I don't know how you would demonstrate that.
Well, it would be 2 lenses, so, like, the
Yeah.
2 lenses in the camera could create some kind of effect like that potentially,
Yeah.
but yeah, but that is really interesting.
All right.
That's and I did see an eclipse, and I looked at the shadows, and I was standing next to a tree, and the tree
Oh, that's
shadows
crazy.
made a bunch of little moons all over the ground,
Crazy,
which is super
crazy.
interesting
Yeah,
looking.
that blew my mind when I looked at that. That's wild. So
That was very, very
when we
wild.
see an eclipse, we see a curved eclipse. This is an actual eclipse, right? And Bill Nye tells us only a sphere can cast
Mhm.
a curved shadow on another sphere. No, all the time, no matter what angle it comes. That's what we're told, right?
Oh, okay, sure.
Okay.
That's I
But
don't
that's
know if I believe that. Yeah,
Well, it's
but
not
yeah.
true. But see, that
Yeah.
people just assume that's true. When we use a sphere to cast a shadow on another sphere, it comes out straight, right?
Hmm.
So let me show you.
What do you mean?
Well, when you use
Hmm.
a sphere to cast a shadow on another sphere, it actually comes out straight. Let me just go straight here. So here we have a scale model. We got the Earth. We got the sun over there at the right distance. Here's the Earth, and we have a moon, right? And so we're going to bring the moon halfway to its distance. We're just going to show you. And if we look, the shadow is straight. The shadow
Hmm.
from the Earth is actually a straight line. Well, we
Hmm.
never, ever see a straight line. And if we go the full distance, same thing. And it gets a little fuzzy. The thing is, you can't cast a shadow a quarter of a million miles. It's a straight line again. There's no curve to it. But if you look on the wall, it's a curved shadow on a flat wall. But we always see a curved shadow, and it just doesn't work that way.
Well, if the ball was okay, so yeah, if that flashlight was back a little further or a little or even a little closer, it could potentially make
No,
that arc
we have it the
thing.
right
You
number
could
of Earth distances away. That's actually that model is to scale. That is a to
hmm.
scale model, right? And that's what we see.
Well, I mean, like, if that is the case, then yeah, that would be wrong, but I know that you could
Right,
just simply move the
right,
Earth over and it would create that, so maybe our math is wrong then.
right. And then the other one, the other problem
Mhm.
is the Selenilian eclipse. Have you heard about
And
that?
and and here's the other thing, so, like, again, if we was geocentric perspective, maybe this disproves the distance, component to the Earth and the Moon, which is not what I believe. I actually believe that I believe the Moon and the Sun are very similar in size, and to which
As
if
God
that was the
said,
truth
they're created the
yeah,
same size.
yeah, if that was the truth, then the ability to create that sort of response that you're showing um, would actually be the same, would reflect what we're seeing.
Well,
If so, it would basically disprove it would more so disprove the giant sun theory and more so prove a but it doesn't prove flat Earth. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's proving more of what I think, actually, what you just showed in
yeah.
some regard. But does it
Well,
doesn't it just disproves the sun being bigger, but it doesn't prove the Earth being flat necessarily. You see what I mean? That's all I'm getting at.
I got you. Well, God said He created two lights in the sky, one to rule the day, one to rule the night, and they're the
Mhm,
same
mhm,
size. They're of the same
mhm.
size, right?
Sure.
So if I was standing here, right, on because wherever you are, you're on the top of the ball from your point of view, correct?
Mhm.
Right, and the sun is above my right shoulder, and the moon is above my left shoulder. Could a lunar eclipse have started already if I'm here? Right, the ball's not in line. Eh,
No, no,
no, right,
no,
because
no.
the it's the Earth that's casting shadow, and if
Yeah,
the Earth moves up a little bit, the shadow should come in from here, right?
sure.
It shouldn't come in from the top, it should come in from the bottom.
Well, top or bottom is dependable based off, like, what
Well
direction or where
well,
we're
what if
standing.
from here, from your point of view, if you can see
Yeah.
the sun above your right shoulder, above the horizon, the moon's above your left shoulder, when the eclipse start, it should come in from the bottom.
I don't know if that's true, but keep going with what you're
Okay?
doing.
So, this is called a selenilian eclipse, and the eclipse starts before the Earth gets in between the sun and the moon, and it comes in from the top. Sometimes it
Huh.
does, sometimes it doesn't. Right? This is what we see. This is what we should see. This is an actual eclipse. Right? So how could somebody be here and see that shadow coming in? Again, it's curved. It shouldn't be curved. Right? Again, you know what the
I'm trying to
what
think how that
science
could be
calls
happening.
this? They call
That
this the impossible eclipse because it's geometrically impossible.
of course
That's
they
what
would
they
call it.
call it.
See, again, this still doesn't disprove my perspective that we're on a round globe that's non-moving in the center of the universe, because that would be easily doable if the Earth and the sun were the same thing. So,
Right, but how can we be on a globe if there's no curvature?
what do you mean if there's no curvature or what?
Well, there's no if we're on a geocentric globe, moving or not moving, we'd be able to measure the curvature
How would you measure the
by the
curvature?
far how far we can see, right?
That
There's
so that experiment you were describing to me earlier, the one where we can, like, see the things at the distance, which is really fascinating, and that's something
mhm,
that I need to, like, look into to try to understand a little bit further, and that's why I wanna buy the camera.
yeah.
So, I'm gonna try to buy a camera just so I can do some more experimenting myself. But the distance thing is very fascinating because at a certain distance, like, there is some type of illusionary response, and I know this because actually I saw a video where somebody put the camera on the ground, really low on the ground, and then they filmed an object like across their house. Okay, and they zoomed in on it, right?
Mhm,
Really low on the ground,
mhm,
and they filmed an object across their floor, and they could see the object on the floor
mhm,
across the way. And then they turned on a heater, okay? And the
mhm,
heater was blowing hot air across their floor,
mhm,
and while they're zooming in at the far distance, the object, you could see there was a mirage effect that heat warped the light of the object, and it made it disappear. It made it look like it was
right.
floating at first, and then it disappeared
I'm with
just
you.
from heat. So
So
there's some type of an illusionary
yes,
response
I
with
agree,
heat
but
and
let me explain.
cold that we don't fully understand, I don't think.
Let me
So that could
explain.
be but what I'm saying is that could be the thing that's essentially carrying these images up to the horizon in some regard that we just don't fully understand because it's a mirage, right? It's a mirage.
Right. So over distance,
Mhm,
heat,
mhm.
humidity will cause warping, compressing, miraging. I'm with you 100%.
Yeah,
But if something is, if you and I were outside and you duck behind a hill, there's no weather front or amount of heat, cold, or anything that would make you pop up over that hill. Unless you have
sure.
line of sight to something, it's not going to warp up or down. You're not going to be able to see it unless you have line of sight. So if you have line of sight, you can make things disappear. You can make things get taller. You can make things compress. You can make things turn into genies, right? But without line of sight, nothing is going to happen. Do you see a mountain right here? This is the
Yeah,
sun setting. There's a
looks like
mountain.
it.
Yeah, yeah.
Looks like yeah.
So this is Monteviso from Pisa, Italy, and
Okay.
right. So you can see the mountain here, right?
Mhm.
You can see the mountain. So the eye height of the camera is 1,313 feet. The target distance is 183.9 miles. And the target, according to Earth Curve Calculator, from this elevation, 12,978 feet should be hidden. Okay.
Huh.
The
Okay.
mountain is 12,602 feet. So 12,978 hidden. So the top of the mountain should be 376 feet below the horizon.
Again,
Did
yeah,
did
I
this
could see that.
cameraman take a picture of something that was below the physical curve of the Earth?
That would assume we would assume he would have had to, but my only
Or
solution
you could assume the Earth is flat.
or yeah, you can say that it's flat at a distance, or we could say that there is also the potential mirage effect that we just don't fully understand.
Well, miraging can only happens when you have line of sight. This would be behind a hill. You and I are playing hide
Yeah.
and seek. You duck behind a hill. I don't come up over the top of the hill. I can't see you. A hurricane, a weather front, a heat wave, humidity wave comes in. You're not going to pop up over that hill.
Well,
You're behind the hill.
no, not necessarily actually, because you could essentially, if there was a heat wave. In fact, there's actually a way of determining this. I could go hide on a in a distance, okay? You can imagine you doing the finger trick, right? Your fingers here, right? And so me at a distance, we're standing in a desert at a far distance, all right?
Mhm,
And then there is an object, a building that's just as tall as I am between us, right? And then I'm standing behind that building really, really far over here. So you're there,
mhm,
building,
mhm,
me.
mhm.
If there is a heat wave I would be hiding. The heat wave could essentially push my visibility up to where
You're
you would
theorizing on that.
see
It's
me.
never been proven. No
Well,
one's
no, I'm
ever
saying we
done
could
that.
try something like
Yeah, yeah,
this.
no, we could try it. I'm with you, but it's not going to work. Nothing has ever popped up from behind a physical object. Now, things have disappeared, get mirage, get pushed down, get all of that stuff. But unless you have line of sight, it doesn't go anywhere.
And by the way, guys, I'm just asking questions, y'all.
I gotcha. I
I'm
gotcha.
not trying to I'm just like, hey, these are the thoughts that
Yeah.
pop into my head that make me go, okay, well,
The
what if this, right?
the top of this tallest building should be
That's
below the
what
curve.
you're pointing out right now.
Yeah.
That is a very valid fact that's caused me to really question things,
Yeah.
and that's the only reason why I wanna buy a camera is for this
Uh,
fact alone that you're pointing
Right.
out.
But
So
here's
that
the
I mean,
thing.
you
If
could
you
show
go
me
out,
that all
if you
day, and
go
I
out,
would agree with you.
if you go out and
Like
try to zoom in on something and you can't see it, you can't say the Earth is a globe. Or you have to wait until the conditions are right. Now, the globers will argue, "Oh, well, you're waiting until the refractive conditions are right where you can see it,"
Mhm.
right? But that's not the case, right?
Well, there
Something behind a physical object, right? It will not refract up over it.
okay, so my star question, though, still is not fully answered. My question is, how are the stars moving in those rotations and then moving that way? And then secondarily, I have another question is when the sun is setting, you can watch the sunset. And if you are in the northern hemisphere, the
Mhm.
sun sets subtly to
The
the
right,
left or to the right.
to the right,
And if
and
you're in
to
the southern hemisphere,
right,
it goes subtly to the left.
yeah.
And when you see that, that's also that subtle shift
Mhm.
is alluding to something moving around something. Like, there's so if you like, there's
No,
no way, like, that could be happening if it's just going in a circle around a sphere. Why is it going one direction one way and the other direction the other?
so that definitely is a more complicated answer, which I can't just answer right here. But if you go, let me show you guys. There's a great video that perfectly
Because I'm
explains
just
it.
talking about things that you can see.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I'm
No,
talking about
I'm
things that
with you.
we can
But
observe. I can observe stars. I can observe the sun setting.
right,
I can observe these things myself to where it's like everything else, I think, again, NASA's bullcrap. Everything NASA puts
right.
out for the majority is bullcrap. It's lies. It's all
So
manipulation.
Antarctica and the 24-hour sun, right?
Mm.
On my frequently asked questions page of my app.
Thank you for the
It,
camera fund, guys. I will buy a camera
yeah.
if you
So
support me with it.
So we go there. The top video is how does the sun
Mhm,
set
mhm,
southwest of New Zealand? Right? How does it
mhm.
set southwest of Capricorn? That's what you're asking because on
Yeah.
on a flat Earth model, it seems like that would be impossible. It's because you can't point west. When you point west, you're pointing south.
Hmm.
West banks to the right no matter where you are. So you're pointing south when you point west. This video, whoa, what is that? Something's ringing.
Mm,
That you or
that's your
me?
bedtime. It's your bedtime alarm, not me.
I don't know what that is. Um,
What is that? I don't know.
I have no
Something, it's not
idea.
me.
Something, something's ringing.
Something around you, bro.
I have no idea.
Your phone. Look at your phone.
Oh, I know what it is.
Okay, good. You got
Okay.
it.
All right, all set.
Sweet.
So all I can tell is people, you need to watch that. We don't have 2 hours for me to
Yeah.
explain it. It's a 25, 30-minute video. And if you watch it and pay attention, your question will be answered. That's the thing. Again, you can't imagine a way that that's possible on a flat earth, but I don't want you to imagine. I want you to understand. And that video explains it perfectly. It's, by the way, it's cut out of a 3.5 hour video. I got it down to 30 minutes, right?
Hmm.
It's the best I can do. And once you see it, you'll be like, oh, now I get it. Now I get it. People are like, well, there's extraterrestrials. They have to be coming from outer space. No, I think they're coming from the outer space or the inner space, but not up in the sky.
No,
You,
I'm there with you. I think that I don't think that there's any way to get to that outer
you were
space
talking
space.
about how all the stars go around Polaris, right?
Yeah,
Right?
that's uh-huh.
Do you know that they all
Mhm,
of the
mhm,
planets circle Polaris, not
mhm.
not the sun, right? So think about this. That's really, really weird because we have our North Pole, right? Our axis, and our point of rotation, and it points towards Polaris, right?
Uh-huh.
You understand what Polaris is, right?
Yep, yep.
So let's pretend that all the other planets are real terra firma and there's people on them, Mars, Jupiter, everything. They wouldn't give a crap about Polaris because it wouldn't be important to them because their axis is pointing in whatever weird direction, right?
Well, yeah, yeah.
Right. It's not important to them because their axis is pointing in whatever direction. So if the Earth rotated, right, it tilted in another direction. I'm trying to just pull up something here as we go. Um, where is it? Where is it? Give me one
That makes
second.
sense that they rotate around Polaris, though. I
Yeah.
can to
Yeah.
me, like, that
Well,
would make
no,
sense.
well, it doesn't. Think about this. So all the planets, not to scale, circle around. This is what we're told. They circle around the
And
sun.
Polaris would be somewhere off screen.
Hold on. I'm going to show you. So here are the planets, not to scale. And here's the Earth, and Polaris would be up there where that yellow line is
Uh-huh.
pointing. That's our
Yeah, yep,
axis, right?
yep.
So what if the Earth was tilted that way? Then our Polaris would be over there. Our North Star would be wherever it is,
Sure, yeah.
right? And if the other planets were tilted, their axis was over here, and this one was over there, and this one was over there. They all have their own point
They'd
of
have their
rotation.
own North
They'd have their own point
Star.
of rotation.
They'd
So the pole star for any planet is unimportant to any other planet,
Of course, yeah.
right? But the problem is they all orbit Polaris. They all make these beautiful spirograph sacred geometry patterns around Polaris. Even asteroids, Juno is an
Yeah,
asteroid, right?
yep.
They all go around Polaris, which makes absolutely no sense. There's no heliocentric explanation for it.
That's a good point. I mean, like, that's interesting because that would, I mean, essentially from the Polaris perspective, I'm trying to think if that would be no, yeah, that would I mean, that would allude to the fact that, yeah, for sure, we could be
Polaris,
still the
it
center of the universe.
could be God's throne, is
Yeah,
Polaris.
yeah, we could
It's at
be
the center.
but again, that's still I don't know, it doesn't make it flat Earth still. It still could be geocentric from
Well,
that.
but
That's
again,
yeah.
geocentric ball, heliocentric ball, both need curvature. There is none. There's no curvature. We have observations that would require a radius of over 400,000 miles, right? Observations like the farther you can see, the
My
bigger.
plane one, though, is a pretty good like, if there was a platform and you had a helicopter, and if the plane was goes off that ledge, it's gonna go up. Like,
Yeah.
I think that does explain some of that curvature with the plane stuff.
I think you need to think a little more on that.
Okay, okay.
And there's so many pilots that talk about the
Oh, they
Earth
all say
being
it's flat, but
this.
I think they think it's that's like an inside joke with pilots, you know that, right? Like, the pilots all say it just
I
because it's funny.
I
They do say it.
I disagree. I disagree, but that's okay. That's all right.
Okay.
Listen, Brian, you're so close, man. You being a Bible guy, where in the Bible does it talk about a globe?
It actually calls the Earth, it says that it's it
I
uses the word for
circle.
dough ball, which is actually it's actually this word specifically that was used for how you would roll a ball of dough. And so it's that same word. I forget the word in Greek, but that's what it calls us. The circle of the earth. That word circle is actually the word specifically for rolling a ball of dough. Which I don't this is again translation, so the biblical
Yeah.
narrative translations over time is not something that's shocking to me to be like, "Okay, well, I don't it's irrelevant," because it's not to me, that's not as important, like, as, like, all the other
Yeah.
components of it.
I look at this. We are incredible, powerful, spiritual, connected beings.
Mhm.
You agree,
Yeah,
right?
for
And
sure.
our pineal gland super important, and that's why they're doing everything they can to kill it. All of the stuff they spray in the sky, they stick into your body if anyone allows that. All the crap that we eat, right? And they're poisoning our pineal gland. They're cementing it. That's
Sure,
our
yeah.
Wi-Fi connection, right? So they're doing
Mhm.
everything they can to disconnect us. And the other way they disconnect us is they put a globe over our head and they say, "This is
I
it.
love
This is
it.
where you
Love
are." Right?
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is it. And it disconnects you from God. How do you dilute something? If I had a glass of milk and I dumped it into a bathtub, did I dilute it?
Yeah, for sure,
How
dude.
about if I
No.
dumped it into a lake? That's pretty diluted, right? What if
Yeah,
I dumped it
absolutely.
into the ocean? It's pretty much gone, right? I mean,
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
considering you
yeah,
could dump a
definitely.
tanker of oil in the ocean, it'll get diluted. How do you dilute God? You pour him into not only into space, you pour him into an infinitely expanding space. And you
Hmm,
make his creation just a speck among quadrillions of other specks.
hmm. I mean, I get it. I see that it's a plan, and I see that I'm totally with you. Like, I think NASA is bullcrap. I think NASA is manipulation. I think this is all designed to lure your soul away from the truth. And I think that there's a significance in making us look insignificant. I think to
Yes.
them, there is a significance in making us look like we don't know or they have all the answers. But the reality is, I just think that it's like, I look at the stars and I don't see how those stars are moving like that unless there's some pattern in the sky that they're moving that doesn't make sense to me, that when we're doing star mapping or whatever, like, there's no other way those stars could be moving like that unless our Earth is like a globe in my perspective to where and which that's the only way that I can
So,
say, "Okay,
right. So,
maybe."
Brian,
But
here's the
that's I
thing.
can't tell any other way
In
because I
the
can't
in
see
the
other ways.
again in the frequently asked questions section
Yeah.
on here on my website flatearthdave.com, by the way, that's where you can find the app, you can find all the stuff there. There
Oh,
is
you
a
have an app?
section.
That's cool.
Yeah, there's a section called Southern Star and Moon Rotation
Southern
right here. And
okay.
there's lots of videos in there that, all these videos are being hidden from you by Google, that show you how these things can happen. But again, the motion of the lights in the sky, first, if you want to believe that they have anything to do with the shape of the earth, you have to, we're told that they're made out of helium and hydrogen in a
That I don't believe that.
vacuum.
I don't believe
None
that
of
at
that
all.
works. How
Yeah,
can
I
we
don't believe
be
that at
on a
all.
globe with high pressure air around us adjacent to a vacuum, right?
Yeah.
And the only answer you have is gravity is holding it down. But
Mhm.
gases flow in all directions independently of gravity. And then say, well, there's a pressure, there's a layer. It's what is it called? I'm spacing another word again. It's late here. It's what the heck is it where something scales out? Someone in the chat, write it. Uh,
Expands?
no, it's there's a
Gradation.
gradation, right?
Yeah.
And that is true because we live in a dynamic system, and when you have colder air is lower pressure, right? There's less, the molecules are slower. So as you go up higher, it's lower pressure. We live in a dynamic system,
Mhm,
but here's the thing: the antecedent to pressure is a container. You need a container for there to be air pressure, right?
mhm.
So if you had a two-story house, you got a room upstairs, a room downstairs, right? And the room upstairs, you take all the air out of it, so it's a vacuum, and you poke a hole in the floor. All of that air is going to rush up, and it's going to be half air. It's going to be, half of the air will run up and fill that room.
Okay.
Gravity didn't hold it down,
Yeah, sure, no.
right?
I
So,
mean, air
so
is supposedly the gases are lighter than air
well, that's what they
and
say,
different.
but
That's what they
we're
say.
also told we have an ozone layer, and ozone's heavier than regular oxygen. So how do we have how come the ozone layer is not on the ground?
Ozone's heavier than oxygen?
Yeah.
Oh, I've never thought about that.
Yeah,
But,
and so how come it's not on the ground? So
huh.
again, this is
Well, I don't think we have the ozone layer thing, I don't know, because we can't and they've been using the whole idea of you're gonna make a hole in the ozone layer to
right.
scare people, which seems like a total
Again,
control
nonsense.
mechanism and a joke.
Gas valve vacuum. I
Huh.
open the
It's
valve,
gonna fly through it.
it's going to fly right through, and it
Yep, yep.
equalizes. Now, what if I
Mhm.
made this the size of a warehouse?
Yeah, it would
All
just,
that
like,
gas would be
fly into
gone.
it.
It would
Yeah,
all of it would
yeah,
violently fill it.
yeah.
So gas violently fills the available space. Now, this is again, you don't believe in NASA, but this is from the Voyager spacecraft. This is Earth. That's Earth right there. And this is a friggin' infinite vacuum, right? And around that Earth is air.
Yeah.
How
Yeah,
come the air
yeah.
doesn't go poof and
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
we're all
yeah.
dead?
Yeah, exactly. No,
In the
that's
heliocentric or geocentric world.
yeah. That would be, ridiculous. There's something else holding it all together
Right.
to some
Another
degree.
thing you're gonna find whenever you have me on, I have puppy dog anti-flat earthers that will be in your chat. They will be reaching out to you. They'll be like, have me on, please. Right. And these guys are all atheists, every single one of them. It's
Hmm,
bizarre, right? The anti-flat earthers, they're all atheists, and we went to the moon.
hmm. Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm just kind of like, hey, I'm kind of in the space where I know what I can observe and I can't observe, and so that's just where I'm at.
Right.
So I
But
don't really.
observation is not science. You can't science the sky. So stop looking at the sky. Look at the earth when you want to figure out the shape of the earth.
Well, that
And then,
hey, I'm
eh,
getting that camera and I'm
yeah,
gonna be doing these experiments and I'm
right.
gonna try to figure out and I'm gonna
Yeah,
film it, I'm gonna put it on there and I'm gonna try to figure out
yeah,
what that actual distance is and if that actual distance is accurate with the distance of the sun, with the
yeah.
distance of the supposed circumference. And I'm gonna try to do some experiments with heat and exhaust and try to see if I can create mirages to see if that's even provable. I'm gonna do these things just
You
because
can
I'm
make things
curious.
disappear, right? You can make things disappear, but you can't make things appear from behind a physical object. This is Milwaukee lights visible from Lake Michigan Beach, 80 miles away. Those lights are the city.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
That's really
80
interesting to me.
miles away.
See, that's very fascinating to me because it's like, well, if 80 miles is actually the distance, then because here's the thing, here's what I'll get at, Dave, is like
Yeah.
even more so, like there's another scenario I can imagine that like what if the earth is just not even flat or round, but rather it's a simulation? You know,
Oh,
like
dude,
I
I'm
mean,
with you. I'm
because
down
like
with you. I'm down with
okay,
you.
all right, because here's my perspective, like, what if it's just a repeat simulation and it's a scroll? And it's
So,
actually wait, it's an actual scroll because the Bible says that the sky will open up like a scroll. So what if this is a simulated scroll that we're seeing?
a level
A le
stationary
but it
one.
could be a scroll that even and it has elements of rolling up, and that's why there's people have created this perspective of, like, as you observe it, it unrolls for the person that's observing it. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, and so to some people, it
Yeah.
looks like it's round, and they've tried to create some perspective. I
It
mean, like, the
doesn't look like it's only round for the people that were brainwashed into thinking it's
of
round
course,
and think
but what I'm
it
saying is, like, they're trying to create
yeah.
this perspective of
Uh,
it things disappearing around the edge of the scroll. What if you're looking at the edge of the scroll? But
I'm
as you zoom into it, it unravels, and that's why you can see things further away. But if you're not zoomed into it, then the scroll doesn't, like, it's just like a video game. Like a video game creates the reality as you perceive it. And it's the same thing as the double split experiment. We know about the double split experiment where it's like literally when you don't observe something, it doesn't exist. And people like this is known. Like, I mean, like we literally
I,
shot protons of light between two slits in a hole at a thing, and you could observe where those proton lights. And then when no one was watching, and we looked away and we looked back, guess what? It went through these two slits like it was those slits didn't even matter. And we have things that like spontaneous animal generation. Like there's things where people have like marked all the animals in a forest, and all of a sudden there's more that appear out of nowhere with whole, and they're like,
yeah,
where are these things coming from? Like we
yeah.
don't
I,
know.
I don't
Like
believe in
there's
extinction. I don't
yeah,
believe that they're in extinction.
yeah, possibly isn't a
Yeah.
thing. You're right. And
So the Earth
so
is
yeah, I mean like
replenishing. It replenishes itself, and there are forces here trying to destroy God's creation.
sure, of
But here's
course.
the thing: whether we're in some sort of simulation, there's whether it's all the Matrix code. I think
Could be a
all of
scroll.
right. But it ain't a ball in a vacuum flying through space. You got to get off the ball. The ball is satanic. Have you ever seen all the 666s
I've
involved
seen it. Yeah, yeah, I've
in
seen
the
some of it.
heliocentric? I mean, it's like there's hundreds of
I
them.
yeah, but I don't agree with those ones. Those are the
Okay.
things that I'm like, yeah, that's probably not true. So it's like to me,
But
it could still
that's
be,
what they
but what
claim
if
it
it's a
is.
repeat okay, but what if it's a repeating pattern and it's a scroll that just loops itself? So it seems to those that have circumferenced the earth that it seems to them like it is a globe. You see what I'm saying? Like, what if they seem like it is a globe to those individuals?
I don't like to just make up stories that could be. I like looking at the science. Water
Okay, well,
lays
we gotta go
level.
somewhere then. We gotta travel. We gotta
Yeah.
travel to
Well,
Antarctica. I gotta go to Antarctica.
well, what's Antarctica going to do for you? It's restricted. Every country in the world agrees that you can't
I
independently explore there. Uh,
I think you can explore there. I
no, you
think
can't. There's
I looked
zero
into it
independent
once.
exploration. Zero.
Are you sure? Because I looked it up
There's
and you
no
could there was
free
a
and
way to get there.
independent exploration. There's
You
none.
just had to I think you have to apply for a permit. You can
No,
go there though,
there
I think.
isn't. The last person that went there unannounced was a guy Ian.
There
His
was a
kid.
dude that flew an airplane there. His
Yeah,
this
and he
kid that
hasn't
flew
been
an
seen
airplane.
since. Where is he?
Yeah, I don't know if he's been seen since, has he?
Yeah, he has not been seen since. So
Oh, okay.
yeah. So
But you were
again,
supposed to apply for a permit. If you apply for a permit, you can
if
go there.
you yeah, if you apply for a permit, it costs you like over $1 million. It takes a couple of years, and then they deny
That's
it, and
ridiculous. Wow.
they keep your money. Um,
That'd be terrible.
yeah, whatever it is, it's like a ridiculous amount of money, and there's no free, and then they make you think that there is, but there's no free and independent exploration. They go, well, there's a marathon there. Yeah, is
Mhm.
there? Where are you going? Yeah, there's people there. Now there's whistleblowers, there are people that are in the military that said they've been stationed in Antarctica, and that there's cities of people there, that there's mining operations there for decades, doing digging out precious metals, and they say, oh, you can't drop a cigarette ash there, but meanwhile they got mining operations that are dirty as hell. Right?
Mm.
Again, everything they tell us about Antarctica, about space, it's all lies. It just takes time and effort to see through the lies. People want to believe that their belief system that they grew up with is true. They don't want to admit that they've been duped because it hurts them, their ego. And once you see I don't even say see the true creation. There's what flat Earth is you see that the globe is scientifically impossible. That stars, being what they tell us are scientifically impossible. We wouldn't be able to see them. We'll talk about that in a second, and then we'll kind of wrap it up in a little bit. Um, that the Earth is not that, and that it is divinely created. That's what flat Earth is, right? We're trying to figure out the model and get the map and everything right. We can. The sun's been documented. It goes 6 months out to Capricorn, 6 months in to Cancer, and when you're doing a top-down view, wherever the sun is, like right now, it's noon here in Australia, right where the hour hand's pointing, right? You
Okay.
can call someone up in Australia or one of these islands over here, call them and say, "Where's the sun?" They'll say it's directly over my head and it's noon. So it is accurate as far as here. Now the question is when you're viewing it from out here, what do we see? And that's where the optics of the sky, the sky is water, it's a dome, right? When you have a glass dome, if it's a glass dome or whatever, and water, you're seeing things
Well,
in all different directions.
Okay, so wait, so based on that model that you're showing me right there, like,
Yeah.
then Antarctica wouldn't be a centralized location. So there would
Antarctica.
be no so you wouldn't be able to see the sun like
Cor
24 hours,
No, see,
basically.
that's where you're wrong. But if what we're seeing, it could be a reflection, right? You don't know what we're seeing here. I don't know if you can see
Wasn't there
this.
like an experiment about
I
people that went to Antarctica
So
to
it's not an
see
experiment.
that?
It was done by a fake pastor, who brought a bunch of anti-flat Earth atheists there and a couple of flat earthers. I was the one that was supposed to go. They were trying to
Oh,
take,
you were supposed to go to
but
that?
I have a little God-given discernment, and I was said, don't deal with demons, and these are demons, right? And so I just refused to go. And they're like, "Oh, you're afraid, right? Can you see the lights in this? You see the lights. You see my
Yeah,
ring
yeah, yeah,
light,
I see the
right?
refraction.
Do you actually see them, or do you see them
Oh, it's a ref
floating in the
yeah,
dome, right?
yeah, yeah, it's like
These
a
lights are floating
refraction.
in the dome. That when we look up at the sky, that's we're seeing stuff like that,
Huh,
right?
okay.
So the motions of these lights don't really tell you a lot about the shape of this floor. This floor is flat,
Mm,
right?
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So the lights in the sky, you have to understand that the lights in the sky, oh, like the sun looks like the same side as the moon because it's 400 times bigger and 400 times farther, right?
So if you saw a 24-hour sun
I'd be
in
like, "That's
Antarctica,
interesting," and it would tell me what I believe. It would tell me how much I
it wouldn't
understand
do
the
anything.
sky. No, it would tell me how much I understand the sky. I don't think there's a real 24-hour sun in the sky, but that's a whole nother thing. And that's just I have that's speculation. I don't need to talk about that because it's again we're speculating. But let's talk about the stuff that they give us. The sun's 400 times bigger than the moon and 400 times farther, so it looked like the same size.
That's
That's called
ridiculous.
well, that's what they tell us, right?
Yeah,
So, but
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 it's
this
ridiculous.
but if you want to believe in a universe with stars, right? If the sun was a yoga ball, the Earth is a
Uh-huh.
marble or a BB,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
And if we brought the sun, the actual sun, 860,000 miles wide, and we brought it 1 mile over your head, it would fill
uh,
the entire sky. You'd look up and all you'd see is the sun, right?
sure, yeah, sure.
You're on the tip of my finger, and here's this is the sun, even though it's the
Yeah,
Earth.
yeah.
And you'd look up, and all you'd see is just the sun, right? So we move
Well,
it.
it would
We move it 93 million miles away. Now it's the size of a coin held at arm's length, right? It's like the
yeah.
size of a dime or a
Mhm.
nickel held at arm's length. You with me?
Yeah, yeah.
So let me just show you sun
Dude,
from
you guys, everybody in the comments, hi, I see some of your guys' comments. People are freaking out in the comments.
people forget. It's
Wow.
all right. Don't
This is
don't
a
go crazy.
really
Yeah,
hot topic.
yeah,
Guys,
yeah.
this does not matter. Just
No,
so you
no,
guys
no.
know,
Hold on,
like,
hold on, hold on.
we're just friendly having a conversation because
Listen,
we're
Brian,
like
I have no problem. And I hope I've been. Have I saw someone said, "Can you guys be
yeah.
respectful to each other?" I think we've been respectful. Have I been mean or
Yeah,
anything?
I've been told I don't think you've been mean at all. I haven't been mean
All
to
right,
you. I hope
I'm enjoying this
I'm
conversation.
just asking I'm just
All right,
asking questions, bro.
so here's the sun a mile over our head. We look up, we see just the sun. We move it
Sure.
93 million miles away, and now it's the size that we see
But
it.
yeah.
Now, what if we doubled that distance, so twice as far? How big would this be?
Mhm.
Well, according to the inverse square law, it would be half the height, half the width, so it would be a quarter of the size. If we doubled it again, 4 times as far, it
Mhm.
would be a 16th of the size. So maybe it would look like the size of a pencil eraser, right?
Sure.
If we doubled it again, 8 times as far, now it's kind of like the size of a star. Like it would be pretty damn small. It'd be a 64th of the size.
Sure.
So 8 times as far. They tell us the sun is 8 light minutes away. 93 million miles, 8 light minutes. This is what they tell us. It's all bullshit, right? So 8 times 8, 64. So at 8 times the distance, it's a light hour away. At a light hour away, it's going to look like Jupiter looks in the sky. It's going to look like a big star.
Mhm.
What if we made it 2 light hours away? Now it's getting really small. If we made it 4 light hours away, I don't know if you can see it. Let's make it 24 light hours away.
Mhm.
It's too small to see. That's a light day. Okay.
Okay.
Now you live in America, right? You're in
Yeah.
America, yeah.
Oh,
So You can look up and see the North Star every night. It's up there. You can see it with your naked eye. You don't need to zoom in on it. There it is. They tell us that the North Star is 46 times bigger than the sun. So if we made it 46 light days away, it would be too small to see,
Okay.
right?
Sure.
Because the sun at a light day away is way too small to see. The Polaris at 46 light days away, 48 light days light days away, 60 light days away, 2 months away. You could not see it. We'll give the ball a benefit of the doubt. A light year away, you couldn't see it by magnitudes. Well, they tell us it's 430 light years away. It's ridiculous that people short circuit when you start talking about these numbers, right?
Well, yeah, because you
The
can't
the the,
possibly
the,
can,
the
you
law
know.
of big numbers. They say that cosmology. They say in science, if you're off by a factor of 2 or 10, this is the Michio Kaku, that's considered horrible. Okay.
Mhm.
They say in
Mhm.
cosmology, they're off by a factor of 10 to the 120th power. That's 10 with 120 zeros. Do you know that that number doesn't exist?
I mean,
Think about this.
sure.
If you had a grain of sand, a small grain of sand, and you made it 10 to the 120th power bigger, do you know how big it would be? What would you compare it to?
No idea. Nothing.
They say that the
An
universe
atom?
is 13 billion light years across, 13 billion light years across or something, right?
Yep, yeah, but
It would be
this is, like,
10,000
silly.
times bigger than the known universe.
Yeah, well, I mean, these numbers are silly to me, they're
The
nonsensical.
so that's what I'm saying. They throw
Yeah.
out big numbers because people just short circuit and go, well, he's got a pocket protector and a white, butcher's coat, and
Yeah, yeah.
therefore he must be telling me the truth.
Here's what I will actually, you know what? This is I got in one more question. One more question.
All
This is
right,
interesting.
sure.
So, like, I get that there's a line in the sand of where reality is, and we don't know where that line is. Like, to be completely honest, I don't know to, what extent we're being lied to. But I will tell you this, it's like, for me, it seems like, I mean, just even seeing the polarity in the comments, guys, is kind of interesting. Like, people are so, they're so, like, it's almost like occultic. This is like, it
Well,
seems a little bit
I,
demonic
I I
even.
take offense to that.
There
Hold on. There is
but
Go ahead,
okay,
finish, and
what?
then I want to say something. Go ahead.
It seems a little bit like, it just is a weird sort of thing because, like, as a Christian, like, I'm called to love people. Like, I'm called to not, and if I have questions or thoughts about something, I'm not an idiot or a moron because I don't see or recognize or because I've questioned reality. Bro, I've gotten as
No,
far as I've gotten because I question
dude,
everything.
I'm with you
So, like,
100%. I don't hate
yeah,
anybody, even the anti-flat earthers. I love them all. I pray for them,
bro.
right? That's crazy for me. 10 years ago, but I would never ever consider something like that. But but here's the thing. When you say it's cult-like, it's because when you wake up to the flat earth reality, to the reality of the globe not being real, it it opens up your soul. Your soul, like people get depressed because they're so lost in the news, their soul can't talk to them. Their soul's trying to talk to them. They're just so lost in the nonsense of this satanic world that we live in that their soul gets depressed. Their soul gives up and they become depressed. They get into drugs, alcohol, whatever. They try to numb the pain. When you wake up to flat earth, I've seen people come out of drug addiction, come off of medication for
Well, that's
depression.
great. That's
But
great because, yeah.
find God more. Flat earth has brought more people to
Mhm.
God, including me, than anything else out there, right? It is
I don't
waking
know if
people.
I could say that claim, but yeah,
Well,
I
it's
mean, sure.
huge. It's absolutely huge. I denied God my whole life, and I've told stories about how I was told in a Bible study when I was 16 or younger than 16, I was a teenager. They said the stars fell to the earth. I'm like, star can't fall to the earth. Like that's stupid, That's like a yoga ball falling to a grain of sand,
Yeah.
It's like and I discarded the Bible for
Mhm,
45 years
mhm,
after that, right? So again,
mhm.
this stuff is all done by design. So the reason it seems cult like is because we become so but when we wake up to it, it's such a passion that when people deny it, sometimes we freak out. And let me tell you something, when you learn something, if you learn something at 5 years old, which is when you learn about flat earth, I mean about the globe earth, if somebody challenges your belief, you become a 5-year-old when you defend it.
Yeah, no,
So
I see that for
it's a
sure.
little bit of programming that's going. It's not
But
cult
it's
like,
almost
it's
like getting the
passion.
pendulum swinging the other way though. That's what I'm seeing, which is not of God either. So it's like, if you've come to the understanding,
Yes.
like that you realize, okay, cool, maybe you think the earth is flat. That's awesome. Like but there is a pendulum swinging that is not of God. This is not looking good for, like, a lot of the way this is coming out. Like, I get there's a lot of lies, guys. I'm, like, with you, like, a good 90% of the way. There's just a few questions that I don't
Uh,
fully think it can be explained
the
without it being round, but
I
at that extent, these are things that you gotta
a
I mean,
couple
if you
years
can
ago.
explain how those stars are turning one way, going straight, and you can see the arcs, and then going another way, the opposite direction, if that's
Watch that
explainable.
video I told you, and then you'll
Okay.
understand it. Watch the video, but a lot of people just
Okay, I'll
won't
watch the
take the
video.
time. Yeah, watch the video. It's in the section called Southern Star Rotation. Um,
Southern Star
Southern
rotation,
Star
okay.
Rotation. You can find it on my website or on the app.
That's the most important question I've got, because that question, I
Yeah,
think, is what is something
but
I can observe that
but
is
but
explained that
you
can
should be
be.
asking, what the hell are the stars,
Oh,
right?
I already think they're angels, bro.
All
But I just
right.
think that
So
they're I
so
already
don't you
think
think
they're just
angels
chilling
can
and watching.
rotate in any direction they want and not
Of
affect
course
the
they
shape of the
could.
floor,
Of course,
right?
but I think that they're moving in a way that we can see them observably stationary, moving in unison around the Earth. I think
Yeah.
what they're doing is they're moving around the globe of what the Earth is in unison. That's what I think is
Yep.
happening.
No curvature. We can see the globe doesn't
The the
exist without curvature, geocentric or
the
not,
the globe the
angelic
globe
stars or not.
the zooming in at a distance thing is very much interesting. And I'm gonna have
Yeah.
to look into the distance of the Earth to where we
Yeah.
can at what how far could we actually see that?
Right.
What if this, Dave, I got a question.
Yep.
What if the Earth is actually much bigger to where the calculations they're giving you
I
are
agree.
completely
Right.
wrong
It would
and you
have to be
can zoom in
right.
so far that you can see something
Right.
before the Earth
So
reaches that curve?
so I was
And
there. Let me answer that.
what if
Let me
that?
answer that.
Yeah, I mean,
We have observations that would have to make the Earth. It's over 1,000. Maybe it's a couple thousand times bigger. Now, if the Earth is just 1,000 times bigger, that's a problem. What's going on the rest of the world? They tell us we only have what, 8 or 9 continents, right? So that means there's 8 or 9,000 continents. Like, what are they hiding from us? Other land, other resources. Either way,
could be.
even if the Earth was a bigger ball, which we have observations that say it would have to be so big, it would be insane. All of space is now fake. Everything, space travel's fake. You're already there, and they're hiding the rest of the world from us. Right? More land, more resources, other civilizations, everything. Right? If it was 1,000 times bigger, it's as big of a deception as the Earth being flat,
Sure.
but it's
Well,
flat.
yeah, it is a
It's
deception. I
clearly
agree.
flat. It's
I
clearly
agree. It's a
flat.
deception regardless. And like, I mean, people are like, Brian can't let go of the ball idea. Guys, I could. I'm just explaining to you that the
E- e-
stars and
Yeah,
is doesn't move logically. And so like if I'm gonna watch, I'll watch the video and then I'll tell you my consensus. But like that star movement is something that is you would have to be unaware of the reality. It's not that I can't
that's not
let go of
Brian.
it.
That's
Yeah,
not
that's not.
Brian. That's not
No,
Brian.
no, it's not me.
That's not
I
Brian.
don't care. I
That's
don't
not Brian.
care. I don't care
Right?
either way.
That's Brian.
Like,
Okay. That's
no, I don't care either way. I'm just like, whatever. It
all
just
right.
to me, it's like I've got to make logical sense of it.
I
So like
understand.
there's a repeat. There's ways you can fly from one side of the country around to the other side of the world. And those things, they would have to have enormous amounts of like manipulation systems in place to blind us to that ability to fly planes around the earth and stuff. And
Wait,
so
are you
like I
talking
don't
about
know.
circumnavigation right now?
Yeah, there's those are things too that you can still do.
So
So like
you
there's
think circumnavigation proves the globe?
no, not that it proves the globe. I'm just saying that these things do exist, that there is a way around stuff. So I'm just saying that like
All
there's
right. So
there's
now we have to go
that it's
another five
repeating.
minutes. I'm sorry. We now have to cover circumnavigation. I'm sorry.
Go
All
for
right.
it. Go for it.
All right. So on the flat Earth, we have the center, which is the magnetic north,
Uh,
right? Compasses only work on a flat Earth. So if you look carefully, this compass is pointing to the north, right?
uh.
Right.
You
So
know when compasses were discovered, by the way, at the turn of the century?
okay, well,
That's interesting. It's
it's
interesting.
interesting. I haven't heard that. So west would be 90 degrees off of north, right? West is this way. See the needle's pointing west if you look
Uh-huh.
carefully, right? Maybe I'll make it a little bigger. Hold on. A
Here,
little
no, I'll
bigger.
zoom. I'll make your screen
No,
bigger. Here.
yeah, a little bigger. So
Boom.
there we go. So I'm going to try to push this
Mhm.
compass west. You ready? I have to keep turning to the right because my compass is pointing to the north. So I have to keep turning to maintain a heading of 270. 270 is a circle on a flat Earth.
Mhm.
I'm going 270. My compass is telling me I went 270. I feel like I'm going in a straight line. If you were on a racetrack that was a 500 miles circle, you'd think you were driving in a straight circle, a straight line. Now, if I try to go east, I have to turn to the left. I have to turn to the left. Now, if I try to dead reckon, which means I'm going to
Mhm.
say, all right, I'm going to head west and I'm not going to turn. And as soon as I start heading west, I'm heading south. South is every direction away from north. All of these straight lines are south. South is when north is behind you. So south is that way. South is every straight line goes south. Now, what nobody has ever done, nobody's ever gone south and popped up on the other side. No one's ever gone from Santiago south and popped up in Australia. No one's ever done it. When
Are
you
you
go,
sure?
yes,
How do we know that? Like, how do we know nobody's like
no
flown
one's
that
ever
way?
done it. You can look,
How
you
do we?
could,
Okay, well, what about somebody going from Australia to South America? Because
yeah,
technically, from Australia to South America would be on the
right.
bottom half of the hemisphere,
Now
so there should
no,
be a
you
shorter
can.
flight distance.
There are flights from Sydney or
Yeah.
from here to New Zealand to here, and they claim that hey, it's done in the same amount of time as somebody going from let's say California to Spain or whatever, you know, which
Yeah.
is half the distance. Well, if you and I were driving we're both leaving our wherever we are, and I have to go 1,000 miles, and you have to go 500 miles. If we both left at the same time, is there any possible scenario where we could end up at our locations at the same time?
I mean, potentially no.
Well, yes. I just drive twice as fast as you.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah, that's it, right?
Sure.
That's it.
So
The
you think
long
all
haul,
the plane people are just going they're just
well, the long haul
flying
flights.
at twice as fast?
So
They're just going
yes, and they fly higher, and there's circling winds, trade winds, and
that's an elaborate a lot of hoax to keep
no, it's
that
not. It's
alive.
not. It's absolutely not. And the all the southern all the international flight routes are controlled by um, NASA, if you will, or a division of NASA. If
Hmm.
and so the northern hemisphere is the top half of the ball, right? The southern hemisphere is the bottom half, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So if we picked any two random airports in the north, any
Mhm.
two, no matter where, would a plane need to cross the equator to get to the other location, or would it ever?
I mean, it wouldn't need to,
It
but I
wouldn't need to,
mean,
and
it's
none of
like
them ever do.
yeah.
None of them ever do. Now the same would be would be the same in the southern hemisphere, right?
Well, not necessarily because there's more water in the Southern Hemisphere, and
Well, if
so
you're,
they would have to
it doesn't
follow the
matter.
track of land. Because,
Uh,
like, a lot of planes follow the tra that so, like, I asked a pilot friend of mine, and he's like, "A lot of the planes don't go just straight across the ocean for a reason, because if there is an emergency, they'll crash. So what we do is they follow the edges of the track of land in case there's any kind of emergency to land, like, more easily on a space of land. So, I mean, there's that to consider, you know what I mean?
well, I mean, I've heard that excuse before, but they go over huge stretches of
Mhm.
water where, with the shorter trek, there are places where they could land, but they don't. So here's one. The flight aware says from New Zealand to Argentina, this would be the shortest trek. We're not going over Antarctica. There's other islands out here that do have airports, right? If you wanted to say, all right, let's go over here where there's other islands, there's plenty of places that they can go in this whole area. But this flight actually goes from New Zealand across the equator to San Francisco, then to Texas, and then back down to Argentina. You see this? You see how crazy this trip is?
Yeah, let me. Is that like an actual flight?
Yeah.
Let me see. I don't know where I dropped my phone. Hold on. I'm trying to grab my phone. Darn it. I don't know where my phone's at. The
All right. So let
So
me
I
try
want to
this
look
on
at
on
that's
flat
how
Earth.
is that like look that flight up. Look that flight up. Like what is that flight?
There's a whole bunch of flights on my app. There's a whole bunch of them that are charted out, and you can see them. But on a flat Earth, it's a straight line. Now, some people say they're on that flight. They don't go up here, right? They fly out here, right? You can fly out here when the winds are cooperating, and these direct flights are. This one actually stops, right? But there's a flight. There was a flight. They were just tracking it from. I think it was from Argentina or Santiago to. I think it was Australia, and it had on its real flight data. When you go to the flight tracker, you could check into the real flight data if you're a subscriber, and the checkpoint was a GPS point was Texas. Like, why would it go from here? Why would it go to Texas when it's going over here on a globe? It makes absolutely no sense.
Okay, I would have to look up that flight and
Yeah.
see what that is because that would be weird. That would totally
Yeah.
be weird.
Yeah. There's
I
a
mean,
whole
like
bunch.
that's definitely unusual. If
Yeah.
that flight is like valid. And no, guys, I don't care to be a ball. I just have to ask questions because why not?
I understand. On
People
my
are
app, if
crazy.
you
You
go
guys
to
are
the images,
crazy.
if you go to the
You guys
image,
are
yeah. And listen, I always tell flat earthers, everyone relax. It's okay. Brian is a friend. He's a good
like,
guy. He's not an
ask your
anti-flat
questions.
earther. You just chill. Let him. Listen. I was Brian. I was worse than you. I was literally telling. I was banning people. It was nuts, right? So type in Southern flights, and I mean, when you really look at this one, here's from Lima, Peru to Auckland, right?
Isn't there a flight? There's like a flight
Look,
pattern app. Isn't there a flight pattern app? What is that called?
Flight Aware, I'm not sure, but here is a big
Flight
stretch of
tracker.
water. Why didn't it just go across here? There's places to land over here, right? Why does it go all the way up, all the way down? Well, it's a straight line. It's weird how all of these
Well, see,
land
that could
tracks
be
are straight
like
lines.
see, that it's unusual, but it could also be like I'm trying to think like if it's tracking land thing. There's an app. It's called Planes Live Flight Tracker, I think is what it's called.
Yeah.
And you can see the tracks of planes. Let me see.
Right.
So I downloaded this once a long time ago. And by the way, you guys are asking why I'm asking these questions is because I looked into it once upon a time, y'all. And so these were the questions that I got to that I was like, "Hey, this didn't make sense." So I started asking these questions. Yeah, I think it's called flight flight tracker. And you can see all these flights of these people of the planes. What's it called? Planes Live is what it's called.
I understand.
And so you can see them. And there's other ones. There's Flight Live, Flight Tracker, and you can see all the planes in the world right now flying
I
around.
get it. When you really look into them, and I have tons of videos where we're looking at these live, and we show that planes disappear. They used to show the real speed where you can go and to see that they're flying well over 1,000 miles an hour at some of the sections over the water. But now they made it so you really can't see that data. But we have screen recordings of it beforehand in the Southern Flight section on the frequently asked questions page on my app, on my website. Those videos are still there. Google will never show them to you. This is the World
So
Cup.
so there's looks like there's a plane flight from it goes from
Yeah,
South Africa, South America, basically like Sao Paulo to the tip of Africa,
Brian,
to Cape Town.
Brian,
What?
Get out of the app for a moment. Just pay attention.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Get out of the app. So Max Egan years ago, and he was he flat earthers were so aggressively coming at him, he became anti-flat earth. He's just like, get away from me. Right. And he goes, well, and at that time we were saying we didn't believe that the flight from Santiago to Auckland or Australia didn't exist. And he goes, I'm taking the flight. Why don't you guys track me? We're like, hell yeah. So he was at the airport, live streaming with us, gets on the airplane, stays on until it cut out, and then we tracked his plane. And now the flight tracker, which you're looking at, said that he went around the bottom of the ball just like he's supposed to, right? It was showing him around the bottom of the ball, but he took compass readings the whole way, or at certain intervals. And those compass readings actually only worked on the flat Earth. It made no sense, right? He's not a flat earther. He's an anti-flat earther at that time. And his compass readings showed, when we tracked them, showed a perfect route across the northern hemisphere. This is the World Cup. They had it in Doha. The team from Buenos Aires won, and they wanted to go home. Private plane, no reason to stop anywhere else. They went to Rome to get fuel, and then they went home. Doha, Rome, home.
I don't know. I'd have to see. I'd have to see that. That's interesting. But
there's a lot of interesting, isn't there?
Sure. Yeah. It's pretty. I mean, there's deception everywhere, bro. There's deception. I think there's deception in all kinds of things.
There's so much deception. It's mind blowing. But here's the thing. This is the one that keeps you away from God. You know that the elite don't want us getting close to God. Yep, this is the number one thing that keeps us away from God. This is their most important psyop. This is the one that keeps you disconnected, lost, insignificant, unable to think, fluoridated, vaccinated, everything, right? You don't, this is the one that keeps us as slaves, right? And for some reason, because of the way we've been programmed, we were taught flat earth before we could talk. I mean, globe earth before we could talk. Right? We had NASA bed sheets. We had mobiles over our crib with planets on it. You go to school, it's like the sun goes. I remember the worksheet. I'm like, the moon goes around the earth, not around the sun. The earth goes around. And we literally had to learn that in first grade or kindergarten. Yeah. It was ridiculous. Right? Why astronauts, the orbits, the planets.
They're not astro.
Astronauts.
And
dinosaurs,
sure.
Right?
Evolution. Well, dinosaurs are dragons.
Yeah, evolution, right. But
evolution's backwards. The Nephilim evolved from us.
Listen, Brian, all of this stuff.
Yeah.
Flat Earth is only going to make your foundation more solid. That's all. And anyone that thinks that, I totally enjoyed this conversation. I don't think I was rude at all. I mean, sometimes I get a little excited. But so do you.
Yeah, I didn't feel rude. I didn't feel attacked or anything, dude.
Good,
you're cool,
brother. Good.
It was fun, man. I appreciate you.
All right.
Thanks for attempting to explain some of these things to me.
Yeah, no, it's and again,
I still gotta watch. You gotta explain the star thing. That's the biggest one that trips me up.
You have to go watch that video, and then you'll start understanding. But again, the motions of the stars in the sky have no bearing on the shape of the Earth, because there's so much garbage that comes with it. Again, helium and hydrogen existing in a space vacuum, having gravity, none of that works. So the motions of the lights that we can't even describe what they are have nothing to do with the shape of the Earth. I have a new website. I have a Ask AI Dave section there. You could literally click on me and ask me a question, and it'll answer in my voice. It trained on over the 1,500 interviews that I've done. And there's so much information on there to learn more, and there's tons of stuff on there. And you can find my app there also.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll check out your app. I didn't know you had an app. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, the app does a lot of stuff. And just to show you, they try to program us saying, the flat Earth is dying. Flat Earth is over. The globe is not dying. The globe is dead, right? The globe is over. But if I go to the friend finder here, I'll just click on the world view. This my app represents less than 1% of the flat earthers out there. These are the people that are using the friend finder on my
What?
app, right?
Wow, that's a
Yeah.
lot of people in there.
Yeah. These are the people that are using the friend finder. This represents a fraction of a percent of the flat earthers out there. It's incredible, right? What's going on? So, the way they program us is the repetitiveness, and they literally they program us by with signs and symbols that we don't even notice. By the way, on and there's also a dating app on here. By the way, you can find other flat earthers near you,
Hmm.
right? So you could set it and say, all right, I'm interested in women in this age between within this radius of me, and I click it, and it says, all right, there's 20 here, and you could swipe and meet people. Whether you're looking for a friend, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, it's amazing. But what I wanted to show you is um, what I want to show you. There was something very important I wanted to show you. Oh, on the homeschool section, if you click the little homeschool, there's a new movie called Planet Mind Control. Have you ever seen it by Jason Christoff?
Uh-uh.
It's on here. It's free, right? So it's in the
Cool.
homeschool section. Jason Christoff, Planet. I think I forget the website, but Planet Mind Control.
Mhm.
It's awesome. And when you watch it, you'll see how we're all mind controlled. All of us are mind controlled,
Oh, sure,
and
there's
it's
lots
done
of
through Hollywood and the
manipulation.
movies and school
Oh,
and
yeah.
everything.
It's
And
hypnosis is what I
and you
call it.
don't even it's a form of hypnosis.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal. And Planet Mind Control. It just
Witchcraft. It's
yeah,
spelling. That's why it's called the Instagram. Gram is the
yeah,
root word for witchcraft. Do you know this?
yeah,
Yeah, and it's like
absolutely.
it's so gram is grammar, is grimoire, okay? And
Yeah.
that's the root, and that's why they call it grammar and spelling. And
But
that's why it's called Telegram, Instagram, or the Grammys. Yeah, Television.
Vision.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
tell
Grammys,
Vision.
bro. The Grammys is literally
Yeah,
telling you that it's witchcraft. It's
yeah.
all of it. All of it. So
So
it's all up on there.
Brian, just get off the ball. That's all I gotta say.
Okay, sure, sure. Alright, well, I'm gonna get that camera, bro, and I'm gonna start
All
doing
right.
some experiments to,
All right.
determine for myself to see what I can see.
Yeah, I've
So,
done.
bro
Have you ever? Wait, let me show you one more thing.
what's up?
I have a good drone, and on a
Mhm.
super cold, clear day, I put the drone up, and I have a whole section on the app. It's called the sun fade out section,
Uh-huh.
and so the sun. Let me just find it here. Um, where's my sun fade out? Sun fade out. Where is it? Um, the sun circles around, and here it goes. Oops, cancel. The sun circles around. So I got the sun. Oh, that's not the sun fade out. Hold on. I got to get rid of that. There it is. Right.
Atmosphere
Here's the
distortion.
sun. Oops, sorry. There's the sun, and it just disappears into the soup of the atmosphere. So the sun was going
Huh.
down, 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 and then it stopped. Now if we were rotating, it would keep on going down, and it
Yeah,
just disappears
that's a
into
weird
the
one.
thickness of the atmosphere. So we're supposed to believe that light travels
What is
forever.
this? What is this? You had it zoomed up in the sky or
This is
something?
this is my drone. Here's another one, right? Again, the sun went down, 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 and then it stopped, and then it just faded away into
Oh,
the thickness of
interesting.
the atmosphere.
So
Now my
would you just
friends are
fly
at the
you flew your drone up in the air to see this,
super
basically?
high, and I watched it. Now my friends were at the
Oh,
beach over
interesting.
here, and they saw the sunset from the bottom up 10 minutes ago. I'm still looking at it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it just faded into the thickness. Now we can't fathom what that
That's
is because we're
fascinating.
told that light travels for billions of years, right? This is the first one I did. Again, sun went down, 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 and then it stopped. And it just sat here. This is super sped up, right? And it's just going away, going away. It's still here. It's still there. It just took its
Wow,
light
that's
away.
pretty interesting looking.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
There's a whole sun fade out section in the app on the more
Huh.
resources page. Anyone that has the app, a lot of people don't
That's
realize if
pretty
you
weird.
long press a button on the app, it tells you what it does. A lot of people are like, can you? I don't know what all these buttons do, right? if I long press, like I'm gonna long press this button right here. If I long press it, it tells you what it does. It's very easy. All right.
That's pretty dang interesting, the
Yeah.
sun thing. And that's a cool app, dude. That's pretty
Thank you.
cool.
Yeah, it does a lot. And I also have a jobs on here because flat earthers don't want to work for or work with Globers. So we have our own jobs platform.
That's pretty fun. That's
Yeah.
cool, dude.
Yeah,
Very interesting.
it's very nice.
Sweet.
And then
Well,
and you're into the old world. Of course, I've got the whole old world section, my lunch
yeah.
break. You watch my lunch break? He's the best.
I've heard about him. Yeah, yeah. I've seen some of his videos. He's
He's
great.
fantastic. And then Jake, I'm the improbable dreamer. He's
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And there's so much good stuff on here. Um, the
You'll have to
giant
when you
trees.
have you gotten to the little season yet?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
I
All right.
love it. I
So
love it.
you have to
I
put a
should have a
little
whole
season
little season
section.
section.
You
Do
should
you
put the little season section on
do
there
you
and
have
have me in
a do you
there.
have a little seasons playlist?
Oh, bro, like, at all my podcasts, it breaks down each section a little season, and it
Yeah.
explains it in
Can
relation,
you
like, all of them.
send me
I'll
if you make
make
me
a
a
playlist.
playlist. I'll put it on the app, and then you could run
Yeah.
that playlist.
Yeah, totally, dude. I'll make a playlist, and I'll throw it
Dude,
on
I'm
there.
down. So it's got that, and then again the biblical
Okay.
section. There's all sorts of stuff on here, amazing stuff.
Yeah.
And
Dude, that's awesome.
I got Marty Leeds up here. He does a service every Sunday live, and you can watch it afterwards. It's actually really good. Um, Big
Cool,
fan.
cool.
And it does a ton of other stuff. But check out my website, flatearthdave.com. Watch the crash course. Send your friends there, your Globy friends that like this is stupid. Just tell them to go watch the crash course. Watch the first 5 videos, and they too will lose the respect of their family and friends. They'll be flat earthers.
Lose the respect of the family and friends, hopefully.
Yeah,
Seems to be
they
the
too will
pattern.
also isolate themselves from all holidays with the family, but
I don't know,
it is
that
what it
sounds
is.
good. You need to walk in love, y'all. Please don't do that. But I know the feelings that people are getting.
All right,
But
Brian.
dude, thanks, bro. You're awesome. Appreciate you for coming on and trying to teach me and convert me. This was fun.
Well, I'm just trying to open up your mind to think, and you're stuck on the motion of the lights in the sky. The lights in the sky are God's realm. We live
Uh-huh.
here because this is God's realm also, but that's
Yeah.
the heavenly realm. We're not there. We're
Okay.
here. Focus on here.
Okay, okay. I'm gonna do some
Yeah.
sciencing, bro. I'm gonna do
Yeah.
some sciencing.
You
I'll
can't
think about
science the
some things.
sky, so science the earth.
Okay. All
All right.
right. All right.
All right,
Deal,
Brian.
deal.
Much love,
Alrighty,
brother.
bro.
All
Appreciate
right.
you. Have a good
See
rest
you.
of your night.
Bye
Later,
bye.
dude.